Welcome to the ObstacleDominator.com podcast featuring Benny Gifford and Brakken Crocker. Whether you want to dominate your next obstacle race or just get started in obstacle racing, you're about to discover every tactic you need to know, from gear to training to nutrition. Get the latest tips from the trenches, get your questions answered, and show up at your next obstacle race ready to dominate. And now, here's Beni and Brakken.
And we're live here, Obstacle Dominator Nation. We're coming to you with an episode that Benny and I are extremely excited about. If you thought I was excited for March Madness shoe tournament, that pales in comparison for what we have today. So since I joined the old podcast, as they say, we've had a little bit of a shift away from what they used to be. It used to be not a whole lot of serious conversation, a lot more fun, a lot more shenanigans, and then now we're doing a little bit more like in-depth talking about things. Today is going to be the beautiful marriage of both of these. People who loved what Obstacle Dominator used to be is going to get some awesome trash talk, some really good controversy, some good, just funny stuff that's going to happen. And also we're going to have some like real nitty-gritty, stat-driven conversation about OCR in general. And so if you haven't guessed yet, we have with us today Jack Bauer, a man with possibly the most famous name in OCR, and he's going to come to us with a bevy of OCR statistics that we're going to get all up inside of and turn it inside out and find out what the statistics say about our past, present, and future of the sport, and then we're going to use it to drive some debates. So Benny, lead us into Jack here. Let us know what we're getting into.
So you're going to have to give me a second here because I was just Googling the definition of what bevy means. That's an increase on my vocabulary. What is
What'd you get? What'd you come up with?
I didn't actually. My finger's wet right now, so the fingerprint wasn't working on my phone. I can't.
Why is your finger wet, Benny?
Well, I'm holding my.
We had to cancel the podcast yesterday because he had some extracurricular activities. I think we know why his fingers wet.
Never in my life had someone say, admit to me they couldn't work their smart screen because their finger's too wet.
So my finger is wet because not everything from the old podcast is gone. One thing that has stuck around is good old Zevia, which we still are not sponsored by, but I'm still pushing. So that's why my finger.
I was introduced to Zevia this weekend in New York.
How'd you like it?
I have to say, it was good. It was very good.
And that was, you tried the ginger root beer flavor, right?
The ginger root beer in honor of Jack himself.
Hey, I'm the second straight episode. You got Kirk right before here. So you guys are on a roll with the redheads.
I think it's more.
We're aiming to be a niche market.
Yeah, just redheads. And actually, Jack, I think, didn't we talk about one time at my home in Colorado Springs, we broke down all the things that are unique to you and down to a percentage of the population that you are blue. It's like blue-eyed redheads who are over 6'2", who blah, 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 blah.
And you're 13 feet. Name starts with it. Yeah, we because we saw some stupid commercial where it was like Dr. Pepper, like, you're unique, you're the only one, or something like that. And it's like, how can we actually define some physical characteristics that make you truly unique? And yeah, that was a fun time, honestly.
Yeah,
you probably check a lot of those boxes. And you're going to help us. One of our giant mission statements on the show is we really want to corner the redheaded podcast market of like iTunes and YouTube and all that. If we can just get that, 100% of that.
That's like 2% of the listeners out there. You're pretty solid.
No, if it's 2% of the population.
Oh, populate? Yeah, that's true. Well,
yeah, if we can just get
also 2% of the listeners if it's by the population, but yeah.
So, we're not aiming for our current listeners.
Oh, of course, worldwide domination.
The United States population. Yeah.
So Jack, in your creepy little redhead cave meetings that you have once a week, you need to pass out the Obstacle Dominator business cards and get some more people listening in. But to move away from your ginger focused life, man, I wish I had some kind of characteristic about me that like people just constantly could make, icebreakers with. Like you just walk up to you and be like, hey, you're a ginger. And then we can start talking. I got nothing with me except for like, hey, you got a big Jewish nose. And
you spell your name weird. And Brakken, you were mentioning that I've got, one of the most famous names in OCR. Can you think of a sport that has more like recognizable or famous names than OCR? Like your name, crazy unique. Yuri Force, crazy unique. Like there are like a bunch of very interesting names at the top. How many Hobies do you know? Not too many. Like it's very, very unique.
Yeah, for a while it seemed like, now we have the opposite trend now. For a while back at like the original years of the sport, you had to have an atypical name to make
a lot of Jung Young packs out there.
Jung Young and Yuri, Brakken, Hobie. Even like Hunter at the time wasn't the trendy name that it is now.
Now it's like you better be named Ryan or you're irrelevant.
Yeah. Now you go to the solid names. Jack might come into vogue soon.
I hope so.
I only sweat in 2 instances. That's when I'm playing video games and when I'm recording.
Look at my pits right now.
Right?
I'm sweating.
Yeah.
Didn't I talk about this last time?
I
heard that. You're not even wearing a shirt. How are you sweating?
That's why I wear sleeveless shirts when I do podcasts, so it doesn't destroy my shirt. It just goes right down the arm.
Yeah.
All right, so Jack, we hear that you've got some interesting stats, and I want to know, we didn't really formalize this or talk about structure beforehand, but we've got stats that I'm really excited to talk about for trash talky reasons. We've got stats that I'm excited to talk about because it kind of shines a light on who is actually as good as they say and who's actually not as great as they say. Where do you want to start out? Because you're the one with, I presume, 13 monitors in front of you to choose from.
No, let's pump the brakes a little bit. We got to give the people what they want first.
Yeah,
all three of us were at Citifield.
Thank you, Brakken. I was going to say, I think the best stat to talk about is my 1-0 record against you this year.
This is almost rat tail territory here.
Benny, we didn't end up making a bet, but yeah.
No, actually, I'm not much of a bettor. I just don't like bets. I don't know.
Let's start this off. So all three of us were at Citifield. I'll just skip to the end. We'll do the trash talk after. Brakken, you got third. I finished 7th, and I think Benny was 9th. I beat Benny by about a minute.
No, not about
top 10.
Exactly.
Can you tell the listeners what happened after the race when you guys called me at my hotel room? And your prank.
Oh.
No, I don't remember this.
You remember in the car, Brakken? Jack called
with the fake DQ?
Yeah. Benny was a jerk and said that.
Oh yeah.
Jack, Benny, you better go check the results tent to have you listed up for having missed reps.
I was just picking up what you were putting down, Brakken. You started that, and I just finished it.
You know what? Oh, Jack, I want to take this moment to apologize because I had that done to me last year at Fenway, and it was like a kick to the gut and the groin at the same time. I didn't believe it. Someone said, "Oh yeah, you got dinged on your reps." I was like, "What? Absolutely not."
Yeah.
And it turned out they were joking, but like I thought it had cost me the point series, and I was
like you know those movies where like you see you're just like world spinning and like you're in a tornado. I was like, what the no freaking way. Like I'm not gonna end up doing the series now. Like
I know, I knew how that felt, and as I was saying that, I thought you shouldn't say this. That's bad. You didn't like it when they did it.
10 out of 10 execution. I was impressed. I give you credit.
I don't want credit for that. I was embarrassed. That's a mean thing to do. There are like good jokes to play, and then you don't mess with a man right after his race and tell him he was DQ'd.
Your logic was so sound, but it also wasn't, because like everyone knows it's 10 minutes per, like all these penalties have been 10 minutes this year. You're like,
except for stadiums, it's 30 seconds per rep.
Yeah, but you're like, and you missed 2, which adds up to 1 minute, and you beat Benny by exactly a minute. But in the case of a tie, it's whoever has the least amount of penalized time or something, which means I actually lost to Benny. And I was like, what the? No friggin' way. I was so pissed. But
I'm sorry. I felt bad about that. That was uncalled for.
Oh, no, it was funny. But I mean, if someone did it to you, it's only right that you do return the favor to someone else.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you have healthy trash talk in this sport. What I've seen too much with Kent and Killian and Hunter and Woods and just back and forth online is people say shit and then someone gets offended, and it's the person's job not to get offended. But once they get offended, it's nice, especially if you value the friendship, to reach out like Brakken just did and be like, hey, I apologize. That went over the line and I'm sorry. And then Jack, it was then his job to be like, no, you're good, man. It did suck, but I appreciate apologizing. And then all's good. That's why I'll always say everything, because I know that if it's a mature person, we should be able to just have a conversation. I can be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know exactly where the line was with you. I found it, and now I know I'm to go there again. So good job, guys. Very healthy.
You're a good mediator.
That was good. That was a good conclusion, Benny. Just in all encompassing the whole trash talk topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put a nice bow on this.
Yeah.
You acknowledge both people's.
Yeah. Anyway, now that we're friends again, let's talk about how I whooped your ass this weekend. So how'd your first stadium race in a few years go, Benny?
Well, first of all, Jack, it is a stadion, so get your shit straight. Hey, if you're cool.
It was all of our first stadion, Jack.
Yeah. It was good, man. I had a good time. There were a lot of felt like noob mistakes or things that I was like, oh wow, you forgot about this, or there were a lot of things about it that were a reminder. One was, I've been spending so much time. This is in no way. I'm happy with 9th. I gave it exactly everything I had. That was everything I had out there, and nothing went wrong or whatever. But acknowledging moving forward, I put too much time focused onto just like easy runs and aerobic development and stuff like that. And because it was in my training to sharpen up and, have the right amount of speed training, but I spent like 3 weeks before running the Appalachian Trail and just trying to go for distance because I wanted to see every inch of it. And I've now for the first time experienced what it feels like to go into a race where you have to redline from the beginning to end without having any kind of sharpening leading up to it. So I've learned that I need to make it a point to not miss out on speed work, especially the week and a half leading up to a high intensity race like that. And it's where maybe it's not as important for something longer, like a Savage race or a super. And I also learned or remembered again that I am a giant, to be anatomically more accurate, ball sack instead of vagina when it comes to concrete. I will throw myself down trails like crazy, but you put me on concrete and I'm not risking anything.
It wasn't just concrete though. It was downpouring throughout the night. So concrete was super slick. I don't know if you guys saw, or like at the beginning, Brakken, you didn't start in the front row. We can get into that just because of your hamstring.
I actually did. I just moved off to the left right away.
Oh, okay. Because I was looking at some of the pre-race photos and it looked like
that's how slow I got off the line.
Gotcha. Because my first step, my kneecap hit the ground because I just slid in place because it was so wet. I didn't get any traction at all. And I was like, crap, I'm going to get trampled. But fortunately, I didn't. But I can hear you, Benny. I mean, everyone had to deal with it. But you had to be a lot more cautious on this particular course due to the rain.
Yeah, I think I struck a good balance because I never ate shit. And I saw several people eat shit. And so I don't think my pace paid for it at all. I think that was the best of what I had at the time. And I suck at box jumps.
It's literally a half an hour. It's a half an hour straight of just stop and go. That's what it comes into. And if you weren't tuning up for it, like you were mentioning, it's a rude awakening. But you got a few more races this year. You're gonna learn from this and be ready.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that DC was actually a part of this. I just signed up for it tonight, so nice. I need to book a flight and figure that whole thing out. But
with some better coaching, you would have come into this race a little more sharp and ready to redline in and out of obstacles.
Well, the coaching was fine. It was I knew what I was supposed to do. I just ignored my training plan essentially. I would like to say it was because of the crazy amount of work I was doing, but I could have subbed out those long trail runs to just go hit a track or just do repeats on a treadmill or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. That was your chance to rag on your coach. You lost it.
I got no complaint.
Let's talk to the arguably the greatest of all time at stadium races, Brakken. So how did
for those who can't see, I'm raising the roof right now.
Oh yeah. So how did your experience go with your tweaked hammy? Like, were you expecting to do as well as you did?
No. And I think Benny can attest to that. Benny and I shacked up this weekend. So we spent all weekend talking about this stuff. And the night before I was sold that top 20 was going to be like, I'd be super happy. And like, maybe if the like things come together, top 10, top 12. And I was ready for that. And it made it as maybe the most enjoyable stadium race I've ever run.
Huh.
I was like totally devoid of race feelings. And I got to just like have fun and enjoy and watch things. And I got to watch a lot of people fall. And I got to watch how people like getting out of obstacles. And it turned out I could run. During warm-ups, every stride I took, my leg just reacted a little better than I thought it would. And I was doing a whole bunch of stuff in the parking lot. It looked kind of foolish. I was like trying to zigzag in and out of cars and like up and down the lots to try to figure out like, how much can I plant on this leg? And I found out, not very much. How much can I accelerate? Not very much. But I did find out once I got going, I could get up to a pretty high percentage of what I'd normally want to be running. And like 3 or 4 times throughout the race,
cruise pace was good, basically.
Yeah, it just took me a long time to get through the gears. Couldn't do anything twitchy, you know? But I got like that first long run around the top of the stadium. I went from like 8th or 9th to 1st just because I got time to open up and run. And I was lucky that I was at the top row already. So I wanted to stay out of everyone's way in case I couldn't run. And it turned out to be a free run across that row. And then that ended up being the exit row to get out of.
I watched that. We basically got what would you say, a 2-minute run, then those heavy jump ropes, and then
right down the stairs, right up the stairs, heavy jump ropes. Yeah.
And by about 2 minutes in, that was when we started going in the bleachers. And that was it was the entire length, probably from upper left field.
It was foul pole to foul pole, pretty much.
Yeah. Like it was long. And of course, like some of the meathead bros who like just aren't that quick, they can power through the jump rope because it's 2 minutes in, they're not tired yet. And like I just think that some of the call-ups are pretty not good. I just wish that it wasn't that obstacle at the beginning, because I got stuck behind a couple guys who were running 7-minute pace when everyone else is running 5:30 pace in the bleachers, and that you lose 10-15 seconds there's contact at the beginning of the race. And that I saw you sneak up, and I was like, man, I am so jealous of Brakken. You picked the perfect line on that right there.
And you know what? There was no line picking. I got out of people's way. I thought, I don't want anyone running up on my heels if I'm babying it here. And it ended up just being dumb luck.
Yeah. I thought that there were going to be railings. That's why I didn't end up doing, and you just free path and like no one's in your way. And I was like, nope, there goes Brakken making up 50 feet on everybody, like within a few seconds.
But as soon as we turned and went down, everyone blew back around me down the stairs.
Yeah. Because
you guys are talking about the section right after the right after the jump rope. We ascended through a whole bunch of stairs, and then there was that running section, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
a really long upper balcony.
It was such I think a silly decision. Well, interesting decision by Spartan to design it that way, because it was cool that it breaks up the field, but what it actually does is it allows those people who like to sprint for the first 300 meters of a race to still be in front once you got to those narrow sections. So you and I had a similar experience.
Exactly,
I don't know.
I was describing.
Yeah, I don't know who these 3 guys were, but I didn't even have my wits about me enough to decide how to try and pass them. I was just trying not to, like I said, I run scared on concrete, especially wet concrete, and those, I can't believe how narrow those aisles were. So the whole time I was just watching my feet. But yeah, it was a whole section running up on people. And I got to give a quick shout out to Bubbles the Clown. I did not realize he was actually fit. Like I thought he was just, so I know about him because he's Bubbles the Clown, but I think his name's Kevin Gregory Jr. or something like that. It's Kevin. And that dude held me off for probably like half the race, and I was impressed. I was like, what? I thought you just run around with a clown mask.
Pound for pound, I think pound for pound, he's one of the best athletes in the sport right now. Every year he gets better, and he has crazy range. He does ultra beasts and he does stadiums.
He failed 2 obstacles in the Iceland 24-hour race. That's crazy. The entire 24 hours.
Holy
and this
cow.
is like one stop and go. That's all it is. Like, it's not mandatory where you can try a 5 or 6. Like, imagine 24-hour. I don't know his mileage, but he was probably 50 to 60, which is good for that. It's not World's Toughest Mudder where you're going to hit more miles, but that's legit.
It's wild. So random little plug for you, Bubbles.
Back to the stadium design.
Yeah.
It's probably and everyone knows I love stadiums, but it's my biggest complaint about stadiums is that the first 5 minutes of the race has generally been pretty terribly scripted.
Yes.
And I know they're kind of hamstrung by the confines of the stadium, but
do a lap around the perimeter.
There are ways you can get around that. And we always are like running for 5 steps and then going up a staircase or jumping down a ledge or going downstairs. And that's just like, it makes for utter chaos. And it's a bad way to let the field naturally separate themselves out.
What do you think about Dallas Stadium last year? Like the 100-meter dash across, or 100-yard dash across the football field, then you make a sharp left and you're bottlenecked if you're not in there.
It looked cool.
Yeah, I can tell you it looked dash, cool. But I think an entire U around the stairs or going off the funnel would have made sense.
Yes.
Now here, I think we're falling into the same thing we talked about last week, or maybe it was just you and I talking about how we always end up arguing from the side that would benefit us the most. Because from a person like maybe Matt Kempson, who's a great runner, but he's a little bit behind you guys on running, but he redlines well and does obstacles well. He's thinking, sweet, I'm glad that they have it designed like that because I can get out in front and kind of set the pace for everybody.
Yeah, no, I guess I don't mind having obstacles. One of the first races I did was Miller. The first stadium race I did was Miller Park, and they did a great job of it. They had 2 obstacles immediately. You ran and you immediately went right into med ball slams, and then a little while later you did a second one. I can't remember what it was, but they were all done in hallways. So the hallway had room to move. You do your med ball slams, then you maybe only ran another 50 meters and did another one, but it allowed good obstaclers to stay up there. But it also allowed no bottlenecks. I think bottlenecking early is bad. I think that playing to other people's strengths early is totally fine. But because there are enough stations for every person to do their reps at once, I like the idea of front-loading obstacles because you can allow people who are good at stadiums to show that early on and get out. It's just that when suddenly you're down to one aisle of running, well, that's, suddenly you just get caught up. And that can be you don't necessarily do anything wrong. You might be on the right side of the starting line and there's a turn to the left and you don't see it coming and you can't see it because it's around a corner and you're just caught up now and now you're screwed.
Definitely.
Kind of like a fire jump.
I think a lot of it has to do with the specifics of that stadium where, Miller Field for the Brewers is different than Citifield for the Mets, is different than Dallas Cowboys Stadium. Like if you had to pick a stadium that that they haven't had a race at that you think would be a really, really cool addition, what would you do?
I'd love to see a basketball stadium. I want to do Madison Square Garden or something like that, something iconic that's totally different. I think you could have like a 15 to 20 minute super intense race at a basketball arena.
That would be sick.
Maybe you could do a little pickup game and hurt yourself before the race as well on the court.
That's a little too soon, Benny. Too soon.
I found the line. I apologize.
What would you choose?
I would go with I did work in El Paso when I was in grad school, and they have I forget if it's called like the Sun Bowl or something. But basically it's on the side of a mountain, like built in there, and I imagine that they could add in like a little bit of trail running there as well, just to mix it. But it's so close to the actual venue. Like I know BYU is similar to that, where it's like right in the mountains. That would be a cool little hybrid thing. So
I'm going to amend my statement. So, I've always wanted to do Madison Square Garden or something like that. What my big dream, and this goes against like what I'd be good at. We're getting away, Benny, from what I'd be good at to what I think would be great for the sport. A place like New York or Texas. I'd love to do a super or a beast that hits 3 stadiums that are all within like a half mile of each other.
Ooh.
So you could do the Rangers.
Even if you do like a high school stadium.
Yeah, you could do the Rangers park, and you could do AT&T Stadium and turn it into a super, or in New York, or I think Philly. I think you can hit 2 or possibly even 3 facilities all in the same race, and you could do a beast.
Wow, that's a really cool idea. They're actually tearing down the Rangers Stadium right now and building up a brand new one, so that'd be super cool.
Now they won't be able to do it because of logistics, because you'd have to pay that $200,000 or $300,000 rental fee for each facility and find a weekend that all 3 are free. But it'd be pretty cool if you could have something like that done.
Yeah. So Brakken, what I'm taking away from the past 20 minutes of the podcast is that CBD oil is the reason that your hamstring was not bothering you.
So after our run Friday, I wasn't moving too great on it. I was having trouble going downhill. I tried a few strides. My leg just wasn't going well. And Benny rubbed me up. I allowed him to taint my temple with CBD oil.
Dude, you can't use the word rub and taint in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you can.
That's why Benny's fingers are wet.
Dominator.
Yeah. My fingers are still wet.
Yeah, it's still wet because of that. Yeah.
So anyways, the next morning, after everything, my body worked really well. So there just might be something to that CBD.
I have to use this.
Macaulay messaged me and he said, you know what? You need to toss Benny a bone. You should come up with something where if he hits some time in training or some performance or does something that you will just take a leap of faith and test out CBD oil.
I'll see why not.
He actually sent me a screenshot of a lady who said, just did a CBD facial. My life has changed. I don't think I want a facial.
Yeah, I don't.
I think when I'm ready for a facial, I'll know, and I'm not there yet.
No,
I think some sort of CBD testing I'd be willing to do if we can come up with some sort of reason for me to do it.
I think the last thing you need right now is a facial. I mean, looking at I don't know if any of the listeners have noticed, maybe our true fans will, but you're looking mighty tan this episode, my friend, compared to the past. Usually your face is like the little icon for each photo, and it just looks like Casper the Ghost is like one of our co-hosts.
Well, I am pale, but we found out that it's all about where I sit in relation to these fluorescent lights above me. And all I had to do was move up like 6 inches.
Dude, now actually it's
what
funny.
6 inches can do.
When you lean back really far, that's what she said, you actually look like you have a horrible like orange tan, like a really bad spray tan. But
no facials from me.
I have to take this as a moment to put in a shameless plug. I've signed with a sponsor for the first time in years, and it is that CBD oil company that I was talking about like 8 months ago when Hunter was just hazing me for talking about it over and over and over. And I don't know, I went in initially to this place just to have a typical retail experience, walk in, get what I'd researched, and then walk out. And I ended up having a conversation with this lady, Kelly, for like 2.5 hours. She was ridiculously knowledgeable. I used her products for about probably 3 or 4 months, struck up a relationship with them, and I'm ridiculously impressed with the quality of their products. Koi, I probably shouldn't be name dropping a different CBD oil company right now, but they actually reached out to me, and they were initially the ones who I had thought about doing a sponsorship with because they look sexy. Like their brand just looks cool, but they're lacking in a couple different of their manufacturing processes that just result in a product that's just not as good. And so I signed with Artistic Organics, and they're coming out with this athlete line just focused on, I don't know if I can say just obstacle course racing, but they invented this line in conjunction with starting the sponsorship with me, and it's called Peridot CBD. It's PERIDOT. You go to peridotcbd.com, and you can't buy anything yet. They haven't opened up the little register side of it, but they you can enter your email address, and then anybody through this little launch period who puts their email address in there gets like, I think it's a 10% discount or something. But anyways, Brakken's hamstring is brought to you by CBD oil, and this sexy face is brought to you by CBD oil. So anyways, just had to put that out there.
Well, Beni, in honor of your congratulations for your sponsorship, I'm going to toss Kelly a bone here. Kelly, off 15 minutes of CBD oil, I earned a podium at a Spartan Stadium race. So just imagine what your products are going to do for the rest of the community once they're fully embraced.
Right. Now that
15 minutes gets you a podium. Imagine that.
Now that you guys have talked about CBD oil a lot, let's go to what we were really here to talk about. That's some stats.
Yeah, let's get it.
All right. So we'll just jump into that. You mentioned the name earlier, Brakken, your brother. Mm-hmm. I have a head-to-head calculator, and I'm just curious, you know, your head-to-head record against your brother. Who is the better Spartan racer, Brakken or Macaulay?
This is a loaded question because on paper, our record would be one thing, but on strategy, our record would be another thing.
I'm talking on paper. You look at the final results. You guys have raced each other 7 times.
I was going to say 4 and 3. I'm up.
All right. So first ever race you did looks like the Illinois Super in 2012, which you won. He missed the podium. He got 4th.
Mm-hmm.
You did
a lot of burpees that day.
Yeah, 2014 looks like the only race that he ever won was the Fenway Stadium, which was narrowly you lost to.
It's like 3/10 or something, right?
Yeah. So you're 6-1. He's 1-6 against you all time. So you have the better record. Now, while I was
Hawaii and one other, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I've got Chicago, Mississippi, Ohio, Dallas, and Hawaii. Yeah, there are a bunch of them.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, you've got a 6-1 lifetime record head to head. But you brought up a really good point. Just losing to him by like 0.3 seconds. I was looking at just a bunch of results trying to find like the closest finishes. You probably have the worst luck in the history of Spartan in terms of sprint finishes, like narrowly losing or getting set. Like Hunter,
paper, it looks like that, doesn't it?
Man, for someone who's got a track background, it just blows my mind how you've had so many finishes within like 1 second of the win, but you're always on the losing side of it.
Yeah, let's dive into that.
I'm just curious. Yeah, like I never realized. I would have thought that what's your 800 PR, like 152 or so?
153.
153. Yeah, I would have thought that you would have closed better, but not taking stabs at you. I'm just curious.
Let's walk through those finishes. You have them in front of you?
I'm gonna have to pull them up.
Start with
think of a couple, and I'll find them.
We'll start with Macaulay's. That day in Fenway, Macaulay was trying to win the Stadium Series. I was doing the U.S. That at the time it was the NBC Series, and I wasn't going to be able to get enough Stadium races in to hit the points necessary to win.
This is 2014.
He could.
Just to update everyone.
So we had Fenway left, and then I believe there was just San Fran Park after that.
Okay.
And so he needed 2 more races and 2 wins in order to win the series. Or maybe it was decided that whatever it was, I couldn't win the series, but he could. So we decided we were going to try to go 1-2, but he needed to win the race. So off the starting line, he waited for he slowed up 1 second before we hit the first timing mat to give himself a little cushion. And then at the finish line, we finished together.
Intentionally?
Intentionally. Yeah, it wasn't a super deep field, but we were both decently fit at the time. So we were able to break free, and then we ran together the rest of the way through. But the cushion we built up over the first timing mat allowed him to, we could cross the line together and look cool, but he still got the guaranteed win for points.
Man, that's risky.
There was no sprint finish that day.
Yeah. That looks like another forgotten name during that race.
Josh Swanser?
Josh Swanser. Yeah. You guys
he's someone I'd love to get into about stories.
Yeah. But no, this is about stats. I would love to do like an episode on just like I'll name a name and you give me stories about like just for the forgotten listeners.
Josh Swanser has to be on that episode.
Yeah. Awesome. But yeah, so that's really interesting. I had no idea about that. Do you want to give a recap of the rest, or do you want me to go over the?
We can, and they're all the same story.
Okay, because I did. They're all like relative to like securing the title.
No. All the other ones have the same exact scenario.
Okay, gotcha. So I looked it up. There have been 7 races in the history of Spartan that have been 0.9 or fewer, so less than a second separating first and second on the male side. That is pretty crazy. One of them being Fenway, the 2016 Montana Beast, 2017 Las Vegas Sprint, 2017 Boston Sprint, and then just a couple other ones overseas. So
wait,
a few really, really close.
What about the Atkins Wood thing? Does that not make it on the list because of the eventual 10-minute penalty?
I said 1-2 gap.
Oh, gotcha.
So all my other races, Jack, were because I was down 20, 30, 40 meters, and my track speed brought me all the way back almost, and I'd run out of ground.
So Hunter seems like he always outkicked. Would you have caught him in any other? You were like legit trying to beat Hunter, but he just had the edge on you there?
Yeah, so those were all like he gapped me mid-race, and those were stadiums. It was my first year doing stadiums, and they all came right down to it. We get to the field, they need to have like a 60-meter lead on me, and I'd power through box jumps and all the way through the last and be like this, and I'd just run out of real estate. And one I actually passed him, and it was this whole timing snafu. There was a timing mat and a finish mat, and he stopped at one and I went to the second. Like they were all like bang plays, but all of them I ran out of real estate. That's like the story of my track career. I always waited a bit too late too. So no, I've never been outrun at the end of a race. You
just couldn't
run out of real estate. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, quick aside here, Jack, it's been like 2.5 years since we've been talking shit about who would win in a 100-meter. I wonder how Brakken would do in something like that.
All right, Benny, how fast do you think you could run? Because we've had this conversation, a few times.
You
mentioned you came up to, or you messaged me one time, and you were like, yeah, I ran a 10.8 the other day. And I'm like, no, you didn't. And you're like, yeah, I did. I had like 4 people behind me.
No,
and then you were like, I think, and then I like proved you wrong because I'm.
No, let's
explain yourself.
Let's add some context here. If you actually, we just had this conversation like a month ago. You little shit. You know that I admitted instantly. I was like, oh wait, I guess whatever this or that. I wasn't claiming anything.
No, you didn't admit instantly. What are you talking about?
I'm gonna pull this conversation up right now.
Head high, like, oh yeah, I could step on the track and run an 11.2 right.
No, dude, I never quoted
track speed.
Stats, boys. Back to the stats.
I never quoted a time because I don't know shit about track numbers. But no, there were just some kids standing around, and then they were running hundreds while I was at the track, and I was like, oh, cool, I wonder what I can do. And they told me I ran whatever the number was that I told you. And so I told you, and then you were like, yeah, that means you're a college Division I runner. I was like, okay, then it probably wasn't accurate. But I still say I would absolutely RAPE you on a 100-meter sprint. Brakken as well.
I had a 12.2 PR. That was the only time I ran it. I did decathlon once. What was yours, Brakken, if you ever did it?
I've never run 100.
Mine was 12.2 FAT time.
I ran a 40 in the 4.6s. I don't remember what it was. So, like, I don't have spectacular get up and go speed, but like 4.6.
That's very respectable for a non-sprint.
For a distance runner. Anyway. No, I am laterally like a cone drill or a shuttle run, but in a straight line in a 100-meter dash, I don't have anything special for you there.
All right, back to OCR, Benny. Thanks for derailing us.
All right, Jack, give us some stats here.
Yeah, we're gonna play Jeopardy. Give me 5 through 1. Who has the most podiums on the men's side, and then we'll do it for the women after. There is a tie for 5th with 49 podiums on the men's side.
Elliot McGuire is my first pick.
He's one of the two. Yep.
Ah.
Tied with that?
Yeah, all time.
I don't know. I'm gonna say someone who's probably way above that. Hobie Call.
You guys nailed it. I'm impressed.
He only has 49.
He only has 49, and then
how many of those are first place though?
We'll get to that later. Don't worry. This is just warm up. All right, guys.
Okay, so they're tied for 49. That's impressive. Good call on Elliot.
Do you want to know who? Do you want to know who is just behind them? A couple behind.
Isaiah.
I'm talking to him right now.
Brakken.
You're closing in on 50.
On Spartan?
Yeah, Spartan only.
What do I have?
47.
47 Spartan podiums.
Yeah, you're close. You can pass Elliot and Hobie later this year.
Ooh, that's a good question. Does that count Citifield?
Yes, it counts currently.
Okay.
Like as of this past weekend, I loaded the stats in there.
Okay, so I have 47. I need 3 to get 50.
Yep. No, the only other person with over 40 is Eugenio Bianchi, and he's over in Europe. I think he's an Italian racer. He's got 44.
So I think by June I'll have 50.
I think so.
Exciting.
Now you have a couple of active racers who are just ahead of you. 4th place on the men's side has 54. Who's that?
Isaiah.
All right, Benny, you said Isaiah. Brakken.
I think Isaiah probably has more. I'm gonna say Ryan Kent.
It's actually Killian with 54.
Oh man, that guy races a ton.
Before this past weekend, he actually had 54. Ryan Kent moved up to 56. So that was a good guess. So Seattle bumped him ahead of Killian in the all-time list. Now, 2nd place versus 1st, there's only one difference between the two. Like, how many podiums do you think is the most all-time for the men?
I don't know, 70.
77. So 76 is 2nd place. He's in Europe. He's got a top 6 at Tahoe before. Peter Ziska. Do you guys know him?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Heard the name?
And
he always wears like this like Japanese headband. Yeah. All right. Number 1 is Isaiah. He's got 77 career. That's pretty impressive. Like,
yeah,
it's really impressive. And I know that definitely there are some, like, he's definitely focused and he'll run every stadium race regardless of who's there now. But he's had some serious ones through the years, like taking down some good names. And he was a beast.
Yeah, he had a stretch there in like 2013, 14 where he was just on fire. And he's got years of high-level racing and Saturday, Sunday races. And This isn't a knock on him because I did this for a while too, but he did a lot of those regional races where you show up and you can pop in, get two, pop out.
Yep.
And I did that with the Illinois and Indiana races for years too, and those add up.
Yeah, you do Texas, you get Austin, you have Dallas, like very easy to get. He lives in Colorado, like just bump over here. It's very simple. And this is another completely different topic, but we'll get into this later. You could do that in 2013. You're not doing that in 2019. Completely different sport. You can to an extent.
There used to be 10 of those freebies a year, and now there might be 4 or 5 freebies a year.
I agree. It's
like last year, I think Jordan Buscemi had the most podiums last year.
That was my next question, man.
Okay, sorry, I took that.
So Jordan had 16, which was tied with Peter Ziska for the most. Yeah. Isaiah and Killian had 15 last year. So you're correct. Jordan definitely snuck in some podiums. But
he knew exactly what to do. Every time there's a big race, he found a different race that he could get to. And
like West Point was the same weekend as West Virginia in New York. Like there were a lot of, I think Fort Carson or Austin. There was like basically a conflicting race every weekend. And it's not to say he's not a good racer, but
no, that's a compliment. He decided I'm gonna go after wins and podiums this year.
Probably made like $6,000 or something last year just racing.
Yeah.
So all right. So what do you think is the most podiums won in a single year by a man?
22.
19 by Robert Killian in 2017.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
I actually would have thought Hobie early on. I thought he won 20 in a year.
Hobie had 13 in 2012. He had 13 in 2011. Remember, he doesn't race Sundays.
Maybe it was calendar year.
I believe calendar. Yeah, because if you start like some of those SoCal races are really early, and
he had that 2012 to 13. Half of 12 was backloaded with 13.
Yeah,
I was thinking
he had
stretch.
13 and then 11 the following year. Elliot McGuire had 17 in 2013. That's the second most. So
that was the year he got like $50,000 worth of travel from Spartan.
Because Elliot McGuire, if we want to talk about, so he hasn't raced since probably 2000. I can look it up, but I don't think he's raced since 2015. He's probably run 110, I think 110 or so races that guy's done. No, he has done, where'd it go? He's done 111 races all time. Do you know, all right, this entire episode is only elite. Let me just throw this out there. Like there are probably open heaters who have done more. Who has run the most elite-only races in history for a guy?
I'd say Elliot.
No, Elliot's second with 111. Isaiah's got 108, and Hartley Mahfood, he has 106. Those are the only guys over 100.
Yeah.
Number one with 144 elite male races ever, Kevin Donahue.
I was about to say, because that guy has a ton.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's amazing. Now let's play devil's advocate. Who has run the most races all time without ending up in the podium that race?
Oh no.
Elite?
Yes, elite only.
Well, I think until this last weekend it could have been Chris Rutz. Sorry, I was saying a win. I was saying a first place win.
So Kevin Donahue has 12 career podiums.
Are you saying first place or podium?
Podium. I'm doing podium right now. We'll specify. So let me rephrase this question. I phrased it poorly. So Kevin Donahue has run 144 career races. He's got on the podium 12 times. So he has had 132 races where he hasn't ended up on the podium. That's crazy.
Wow.
Just going up. Chris Rutz, you're right. He has 14 career podiums. He has the most career out of 98 races. He was big early on, raced all the time. He has the most podiums all time without a first place.
Yeah.
14.
And he just got his first top of podium in age group this past weekend. So his first place ever this last weekend.
That's sick. Yeah, because he never did it before. He had plenty of thirds and seconds through the early years, but pretty amazing. All right. So now let's jump over to women, and we'll keep going back and forth. Who are the top 5? Just like on the men's side, there was a tie for 5th place. Which 2 women are tied for the 5th most podiums of all time?
5th most?
Yeah, we're going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
April D.
Brakken, who do you think? April is actually 4th with 36, so you're really close. So good guess, but
Lindsay Webster.
No, Lindsay is not. Lindsay has 26 career podiums in 28 career Spartan races. Her only non-podiums are 4th places, her first 2 races. Actually, since you mentioned Lindsay, I'm gonna do this one now. I was gonna save this for later. This is probably the most mind-blowing stat that I have ever come across in my life. All right, I looked it up. How many men who Lindsay has faced at least 5 times or run the same race in has she not beat?
She's beat everyone. She's beat everyone.
I'm gonna say like 8.
8 in history. Okay, Benny, what do you think?
So basically, men she has not beat.
Yes. So let's say Seattle. She just ran Seattle. She wasn't physically in the same heat as the men, but she ended up at least running that same race. But was her finishing time faster than?
I think she has only not beat one person.
There are a total in history 6 men who she has faced at least 5 times who she has not beat at least once. Let's crazy! Now I want you guys to guess who those people are, because I would not have
Atkins.
Guessed.
Atkins, yeah.
Ryan Atkins. What do you think his head-to-head record is against Lindsay? 26-0. All right. Okay, name the rest.
Hobie.
Robert Killian.
Robert Killian actually lost to her at the 2018 Chicago Super.
Yes.
Oh man. Did John Albin qualify?
John Albin is 7-0 against her. Yes.
Okay.
Cody Moat lost to her at the 2016 Palmerton Super.
Hunter
McIntyre
is another one. He's 8-0.
Damn it. That would have been the best. Jack, I need to find one girl. Is there one girl who's beaten him?
I don't know, but I'll look that up later. I don't have that number in front of me, but I prepared Lindsay.
He's never imploded. He's never had a really, really bad race.
No, please find that.
Hunter probably has, I have this stat, but Hunter, I'll look it up after, probably has one of the highest, worst finishes. Like, he's never finished worse than like 6th, for instance, in a race. I'll look that up later. But anyway, so you guys have got Atkins, Hunter, and Albin so far. Who are the other 3?
Elliot McGuire, because he's never raced her.
No.
It's have to have 5 races against her, right?
Against her.
5. So John Yatzko's 4-0 against her.
I said Yatzko.
I know. He's 4-0, so he doesn't qualify. But no one else in the history of Spartan race has done more than 3 races. So, like, it's ridiculous. So do you want me to name the others?
Yeah.
All right, we already talked about he's got the most podiums all time. Isaiah actually is 8-0 all time against Lindsay. Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Why didn't you guys guess Hobie?
I did say Hobie at the beginning.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Sorry, my bad. All right, and then the other one?
I actually didn't guess him because I would have thought West Virginia that one year she beat him.
It was very close, but that actually he had a faster. I think he got like 10th or 11th that race. That was like his bad race. Nope. And then the other person, Johnny Luna Lima, 6-0.
Wow.
That's
he
pretty
generally
amazing.
runs well at Tahoe.
Yep, absolutely, and he brings it. Like, I think Lindsay, besides a couple of random ones in Canada, has never run like just a gimme race. She only does the hardest races, and for her to have never like beaten only 6 people who she's faced at least 5 times, that's incredible. So that just goes to show, like, hands down. I mean, her stats speak to it alone. Like, only not on the podium twice in history, and she only runs the hardest races. But the fact that she literally, her average finish, if she ran in the guys' heat, would have been 16th place this year, and then 14th last year, 16th a couple years in 2017, 14th in 26. Like, that's incredible. If you're the 14th or so, 14 to 16, who would you say that is on the guys' side? Like, maybe around an Ian Hosick or something, Matt Kempson around there. That is what Lindsay is.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
I feel like Nicole's doing that a lot this year.
She is, yeah. But I've got like historical stats on Lindsay specifically, so I kind of had that prepared. So.
This is the real reason.
Let's cycle back then. Let's cycle back to who the other top 5 all-time podiums are.
Yeah, for the women. Yep. So you April D 4th. You already guessed that, Benny.
Well, Amelia's going to be in there.
Amelia is actually not. Amelia has 31. She is tied for 10th.
Really?
Cloud?
Nope. She's not even in my top 40 that I'm looking at right here.
Oh, Rose.
Rose is second with 41.
Faye
is number 1, 54. What a gap.
Ooh.
Wow.
Big gap.
Holy cow.
Number 3, I was honestly really surprised with this. Alyssa Hawley.
Okay.
She has 4. I know she races a lot, but and she's super, super consistent, but that surprised me. And then the other person who's kind of associated with Alyssa a lot, tied for 5th is Raya, and then Chikorita is tied with her with 34.
Huh.
You know, Chikorita has to have done the most burpees on that list.
You know that Chikorita just ran an 80.5-minute half marathon a couple weeks ago in New York.
Wow.
That's moving. That's like 6:10 pace or so. So you're right. She definitely makes up ground because of burpees. So.
You know, 2 athletes I consistently forget about that anytime I race them or they're at the race I'm at that day, I remember them is Ivan Santana and Chikorita, both from Mexico. Both always have very solid performances anytime they show up anywhere.
Yeah, it's true. All right, now we're going to have some fun. All right, here's obscure stat number 1. Who has the most all-time 4th place finishes that has never been on the podium?
Me?
No, it's with 5. You're probably close, but so this guy, Benny, you have 3. So
5.
Yeah. But you've never been on the podium. He runs the Stadium Series. He was probably 30 to 45 seconds behind me last year in a few races. You probably don't know him by name, but
no, it can't be Kieran.
No. Kieran's been on it.
Yeah,
is it one of the Moralia guys?
Nope.
Who is it?
James Delory.
James Delory.
You've probably seen his name in results a few times, but yeah,
always the bridesmaid.
Yeah, 5 career 4th place finishes, never to get a podium.
Well, Jack, I've got a random stat for you. Who is the only athlete who can run, Olympic times through the mountains?
Oh no.
You're going down this route?
Say the name, mofo.
Don't.
I think my computer's freezing. I'm going to have to look it up later. But if you know the answer off the top of your head, you can fill us in.
Well, I think Brakken's giving me the head shake. Is this like Eminem dropping somebody's name and they get famous from it?
Yeah. He's like Machine Gun Kelly, this guy. We don't want to make him famous.
All right. We'll leave it alone.
Another time.
Anybody who wants to know, just message Brakken or message me personally.
Message Benny. This is your boy toy you're talking about.
I love it. It's probably the greatest joy in my life. Like every morning I wake up just wanting to see what new shit has hit the fan on this topic.
There's a lot. Let's get back to the serious stuff, Benny. We'll do maybe April Fool's next year. We can bring him on.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna have some fun. All right. What first name letter? Like you're Brakken, you're B. I'm J. Benny, you're B. What first letter for a first name has the most career podiums for men?
R.
R is actually 3rd. There have been 318 career podiums by people whose name starts with the letter R for men.
So then I'm going to say C and H.
J.
C is 5th, and H is like 15th.
J.
Hobie's basically got all of them.
And Hunter.
Wait. Yeah. What did you say, Benny?
J.
Yes. J is the number 1 name with 457 career podiums by a guy. Number 2 is actually M.
Where does that all come from?
I will look for J.
I mean, who's doing the lion's share of the work there?
In terms of J?
Well, that's obvious.
Benny, name 3. Go.
Oh no, it's John Albin doing the number 1 amount, and then there's
no. John Albin doesn't have a lot of podiums.
No, he just wins championships.
Yeah.
Go.
Okay.
Go.
So,
name 3.
No,
Benny.
it's like
name 3 J's.
It's like Jaron or something like that.
John Albin has 13 career podiums for out of people whose name starts with J. He's 8th. So that just tells you he's not winning it.
So Jordan Buscemi's ahead of him.
Jordan is 2nd. The number 1 guy, he podiumed at NORAM last year, Canada.
What's his? It's like a Jaroche or something like that.
No. Jesse Bruce.
Oh.
And then you have like Josh Stride up in Canada, Jacob Javierek, he's in Europe. He's always podiuming over there. Johnny Chu, he lives in Hong Kong. He's from the U.S. He was actually at Citifield. He had to do burpees. He finished about maybe a minute behind you, Benny. He's one of the top racers over there. And John Yatsko, he's got 18. So it's a lot of like 10 to 15 that are really adding up, as opposed to the other ones where it's you have Hunter, you have Hobie, and then it's like, well, there's a big drop off for the ages. So now let's look at last names. Which last initial do you think has the most career podiums for men?
Emma.
You're correct. Can you name a couple?
Moat, McGuire,
McIntyre.
Yeah.
Yeah. That basically those guys are really adding to the supply line. Yeah, those are the top three in terms of last letter. If we want Brakken, how many people with the initials BK in the history of Spartan do you think have been on the podium?
I'm gonna say three.
You're the only one.
Yeah, that's right, son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Owns that BK market. BK Lounge.
Absolutely. So I wanted to feel special, and I wanted to see what I am like the all-time leader in some obscure stat in Spartan history. So if we're looking at U.S. only, and we want to look at only 2017 and 18 for the most podiums that have happened in California, Colorado, and Florida combined, and your initials are JB, I am the leader. So
that's really good, Jack.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, I had to find something I'm special at.
Well, Jack, how many?
If you don't get a sponsorship from CBD oil off this episode, I don't know what to say.
I know. It's crazy. Just who wouldn't
think of the states you named?
In those, yeah, Colorado, California.
Yeah. If you don't get some sort of marijuana sponsorship off this,
yeah.
They're missing their mark.
Jack, what if I personally guaranteed you that if instead of using a sublingual tincture, you put the drops in your eyes, you would immediately see color?
I've got my colorblind glasses. That's fine.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, let's jump to the women.
Do you have the most career podiums for a colorblind athlete?
I only have 3, and I'm sure that considering I know Chris Chapman, he's colorblind also, and he's had a few in his day, so he probably has more than me. There was one other guy who came up to me and said he's colorblind as well. But I'm like 1 out of every 12 guys is colorblind, so surely I'm not number 1. But Kirk DeWint, no, he's got more than me. He's got red hair, so maybe redhead with colorblindness. Maybe I'm number 1 in that, but we'll see. All right, so for the women, which first name initial is number 1?
A.
R.
A is correct. 543. Second is M with 332. So basically, if your name and you're a woman starts with A, you're probably going to have a bunch of podiums.
So Amelia, April, Alyssa.
Yep.
Who else?
Chikorita, because Alex Rudana de la Huerta Socia.
Whoa. You can't let the cat out of the bag. You cannot let the cat out of the bag. No one knows her name.
Alex Walker, she's also got a bunch. So A's without question are just ridiculously dominant. Now for last name, what do you think it is for it was M for men. What do you think it is for women?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm gonna go with B.
No. Brakken, what are you thinking?
Oh, it's W. It's W.
It's S. Faye Stenning, Kelly Sullivan, Juliana Sproles, like that. There are a lot of like smaller
the OGs come into play there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So now, what do you think the slowest winning time for a sprint is?
1:17.
Brakken?
I was gonna say 59 minutes.
For a sprint, the actual answer. Why isn't this loading? It is actually 1 hour and 28 for SoCal once, which is crazy. Yeah.
Jeez.
There was a beast. You ran it, Brakken. 2014 or 2013. Winning time for Killington was 3 hours 35 minutes. Like that was the winning time. So you can only imagine how long people are on the course for that. So pretty stupid.
Yeah, that was a long year.
Yeah, definitely.
And then next year was like 326.
Yeah, because you did that one also, right? When Ryan Kempson won it.
Yeah, I ran 350. Oh no, I'm saying the next World Championship year at Killington was.
Oh yeah. No, it's crazy.
I just broke 4. I ran 359 and took 8th in the world with almost a 4-hour beast.
Stupid.
Like that's outrageous.
Yeah,
we weren't even racing at the end. We were just all trading off cramps and burpees. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah. So if we look at the average total, like every race in history on the men's side, what percent like of the course do you think that the average male racer is completed with by the time that first place crosses the line?
Oh.
So the average person in the field compared to are you talking mean or median?
The mean. So like if you look at every single runner, so if you did Seattle, Atkins wins it in an hour, and then you're like Joe Schmo in the end of the, this is elite heat also. Say that you're like the 60th guy who finishes, like you're part of this statistic, but also second place is part of this. Like if you look at what percent of the course, like second place was probably 99% of the way done. Like what percent of the course do you think the average elite racer is historically?
43%.
Nope.
I was gonna say 72.
66 on the men's side.
66.
That's pretty impressive. So basically they're a little more than 2/3, and on the women's side they're 70 on the dot for completion. So you have a little bit more pull away on the men's side, but I think part of that is because you have a lot of guys who just kind of race the first heat because they want to be in it.
Man,
it highlights the need for a pro wave.
Yes,
66%. That's as bad as Brakken's podium percentage.
That's embarrassing, isn't it? I miss 1 out of every 3 podiums I go for.
That's pretty sad. Yeah, and I have 3 total. So, geez.
That percent off winner might be the single greatest stat you could use to talk about historical greatness.
To an extent, because if you look at Yuri,
in terms of just blanket statements, you can just point to that and say, yes.
Yeah. So I've come up. We'll get into this later, but like
if you were ranking Hall of Fames and you only had 1 stat, that is
the one you use.
One of maybe 3 you could think of that you could say, this person is historically good.
Yes, absolutely. It's like batting average. It's like how good are you over time? Totally agree. Okay, so now let's look at the women. Who do you think is number 1 for the women?
Percent off winner?
Yep.
Lindsay?
She is actually 4th.
Really?
Number 1 is...
I don't have a guess then.
One of the very few women who has beaten her. A couple times.
Oh, Susanna?
Yeah.
Number
2, I think she benefited a lot from her early years, but people don't remember how great she was. Claude Gabou.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only person she beat Alyssa, she beat Chikorita, and got second about a minute behind Susanna last year at European Championship. The only person who has won every single race in Europe, unless Susanna has stepped on the course, is Esther Hotogobayova. She's I think she got like 15th or 20th at Tahoe a couple years ago, but she's basically an automatic podium over there. But then it's Lindsay. Just behind Lindsay's 2.0, 2.5% is Rebecca Hammond, and then Faye is 3.2.
Okay, so theoretical question for you.
Yep.
If you were in charge of creating a pro wave or a litmus test for where, like, your dividing line for the elite wave, if you wanted to take the elite wave and divide it into elite and a pro wave, pro meaning only the people who aren't going to hold the women up on the course, or only the people that are head and shoulders above the rest, and you were using time percent of winner, what would your line be? Where would you cut off for the qualification standard?
So my historical one for me, I'm like 86%. If you throw out my first year, like my first 2 race where I did like 120 burpees, those 2 races, I'm up to like 88, 89 historically. And that's where guys like, Grayson Kilgore, like some of those end of the top 10, but probably can sneak in a few podiums here and there. I would say that we probably would be like mid-pack for that pro card. Like, obviously we're not on the Ryan Atkins, Ryan Kempson, VJ level. We're not where you're at. You don't
need just that. I'm talking enough people to make it a full field.
I would
maybe 20 to 30, but not so diluted that women are going to catch you.
I would say probably 85%.
85%?
82 to 85% on the men's side. On the women's side, it's probably about 80% because you have fewer women on average. And
yeah, and they have a bigger
have a
spread.
Lindsay or a Nicole run away, and their talent's just far greater. But I would say about 80% for the women in your average race, and 82 to 85 for the men.
Okay, so there's kind of like the gauntlet's been thrown down, Obstacle Dominator Nation. If you're listening to this, your goal in a race, if you're curious, like, where do I stack in the sport, be within 15% of the winner's time.
Yeah, and it's going to be harder if you're racing Atkins or in these U.S. Series races. But guess what? A bunch of people are still finishing within that. Basically, if Atkins wins in an hour, you need to be under an hour 10 in order to hit that 85% cutoff, roughly. So that's your goal in general. The longer it is, the harder it is to pull off because obviously people's genetic makeup and longer courses, it's harder for some, better for others. But yeah, 80 to 85%. If you want to actually be a legit contender for a future pro card, that's what I would set as the mark.
Well, my question, elite obstacle racer on your profile, you got to be within 15% of the winning time,
regardless of how many discount codes for Oral IV or anything you have.
That's right.
My question is, what is the thing that's stopping races from actually putting something like that in place to qualify it? Because it's not like they're making money off of the elite waves. They're getting an extra $20 per registration, but that's not the meat and potatoes of what they're doing. So why?
I don't think we're far from that. I think it's just a size of sport. It's a growth thing. That
look at the stadium race, how they do the 15 call-ups though. Would you say it's pretty flawed? Like, Benny, why were you in the second heat? I know you don't have a historical like Spartan presence, but five out of those 15 people, like, probably the only reason they're called up was because they did all 3 stadium races last year, accumulated enough points to be in the series, and then that rolled over and they had a clean slate, and all that they could base their numbers off was how you did last year. Regardless of if it's 20th for your average or you're within that 15%, like I'm suggesting it, like placement doesn't matter. It's how close you are or how consistent your results are. Not, I got 7th in this race, but who showed up? Like it's a very...
So I had no qualms with starting off in the second wave because I have essentially 0 Spartan history and specifically 0 stadium history. And so that made sense. I honestly wasn't even thinking I'd get called into the second wave because as soon as you guys took off, we all rushed forward. But then they were like, no, step back. We're doing call-outs for a second wave too. And I was like, oh, wow, they've got a lot of names and they've got a big enough field to where they have the first 30 people picked out. And I was like, okay, well, shit, now I'm going to be racing in the third wave. But I don't know where they called my name from. Maybe it was they see me and they're like, okay, well, we know he's good, so we'll put him in the second wave. Or was it?
You took 4th at San Antonio, right? Or is that Austin?
No, he did 7th in Nashville last year. I remember.
Well, this year.
4th in Phoenix,
Arizona.
But that's not a stadium race. They shouldn't be pulling from that information.
Yeah. They have to. They pull from all available information.
Oh, well, I don't understand what exactly they're doing because I just don't think they're being consistent with it because Cole Schwartz hasn't finished out of 7th place. He was telling me in basically any race he's done in the past, I don't even know how long. And he said
he was 7th or 8th last year at Citifield. So why was he not in Heat 1?
Well, so he wasn't Heat 1, but he said it like, I forget now, actually. I'm not sure what he was talking about, but he said even with that track record in a previous stadium race, he hadn't been in the top wave.
Yeah. I podiumed 2 weeks before at like Miami at one of the races, and I got put in Heat 2. I remember Ryan Kent, he said that he did a race one time and he got put in Heat 2, and he's on the pro team for a stadium, like, made no sense a couple of years ago. So
a couple of years ago, the system's gotten a little better, but these early season races are kind of crapshoots. Yeah, but it also mirrors some other sports where you have to earn your stripes at 1.
Yeah. Now,
I like that.
I think that's okay. I also think there should be some wild card spots.
Brakken, now you have probably talked with Robert Coble a good deal, like through the years. Do you understand how he kind of bases things? Like, do you know what's behind the curtain for him?
Not enough to speak knowledgeably on it. I understood it when he explained it to me enough to appreciate the system and his numbers that I've seen, where he scores everyone's race after how, he, on a scale of like 0 to 1, like someone had a 0.92 in the field and took 8th, but they had the highest, like the highest 92% of a perfect score.
Yeah,
And
I remember
and
like
it seems to hold pretty true. So no, I don't know I couldn't replicate his formula right now. I might have been able to come close like 3 years ago, but I just don't recall it anymore. But it struck me as the best system I'd seen to date.
Gotcha.
So that's all I could say about it. Up until that point, it was head and shoulders above the rest.
Gotcha. Okay. I was just curious since you saw it, but anyway, you want to get back to a few more stats and then we'll kind of go into a different direction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Finish up with your best ones and then let's get some debate going.
Okay. So how many races all time do you think that the winning time for a woman ended up being the overall champion?
In the US or worldwide?
Let's go US.
How many, or the name of the woman?
How many races?
Say 2.
It's 2 for the entire. There have actually been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all time.
Really?
3 of them happened in Hawaii in 2017 for the Beast Super and Sprint because Alyssa and Raya were both there and they just won outright. There was also the Quebec Ultra Beast this past year with Anne Champagne. There was one a few years ago, Tri-State New York. Faye Stenning won by like 5 minutes, but I know that there was like some debate as to if she like accidentally took a wrong turn or something.
Right.
But, yeah. But anyway, that's pretty interesting. So there've been.
I only knew about Hawaii and Faye.
Yeah, there've been over 1,250 separate elite races. So there've only been 6 all time when a woman has won outright, which is really impressive. If we're looking at since 2000, like the NBC when those debuted, and now the modern U.S. series, for people who have run at least 3 races, who has the highest average finish in those races?
Killian.
No, Killian
Ryan
probably
Atkins.
would have been right up there if it wasn't for a really bad race in Chicago last year.
Either Atkins or Hobie.
No. Actually, Atkins is second with an average finishing place of 2.42.
So it's Hunter.
Hunter is number 1. In 6 career NBC or US Series races, his average finishing place is 2.3 overall. He brings it. I mean, he just doesn't have a bad day. Like you said, he's never blown up.
And for women, it's got to be Lindsay.
Oh yeah, without question. Yeah.
She like 1.8.
her average career finish. She's had 28 career races. She's ended up on the podium on 26 of them. Like, and she's done like the Palmerton Sprint one day after, and then a couple ones in Canada. Other than that, it's almost a guaranteed win. So, yeah, pretty insane. Top 5 for the men: Cody Moat 3.08, and then Robert Killian 3.7. Other guys who finished in the top 5 on average. John Yatsko is the only one. And then what do you think your average finishing place is, Brakken?
6.
5.9. Yep, very close. Do you want to know the only guy above you who I haven't named yet? Probably the most underrated. I'd put him in my top 3 most underrated Spartan racers of all time.
Give a hint.
He is the non-Matt Novakovic guy from that state.
Oh,
So,
his little
Chad Trammell.
Trammell, I'd say, yeah, I'd put him top 3 most underrated of all time.
Who would you put besides him? You want to know what I'd put number 1?
I'd say maybe Glenn.
He'd be in there. I would put
He'd
John
be my
Albin number 1. I don't think anyone appreciates what that guy does.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I would put John Yatsko. If I had 4, Yatsko and Albin.
Yeah, I agree.
Although, to be honest, Hunter might qualify.
Hunter also, yeah, he just brings it. And
because he has such a crazy reputation outside of his actual true results. I think people sometimes forget how dominant he
runs
was
away
for so
with
long.
Asheville and just crushes
He's
it.
always contending for the win.
Yeah. I have this. Let me try to find it. I have the highest worst race. So let me try to find that one.
That was a point of pride I kept for years, and then I blew it.
Yeah.
I always thought at least I've never taken worse than 5th, and then it pushed to 7th, and then it was 12th, and then it was 48th.
Gotcha. All right. If we look
then I didn't have a stat anymore.
There are 8 guys who have ever only podiumed at a stadium and Ultra Beast. So that's like the crazy distance gap, but they've never podiumed at any of the 3 distances in between. No woman has ever done it. But
has anybody ever won a stadium and an Ultra Beast?
Yeah, a few guys. I know Peter Ziska has done all 5 in a single calendar year. He's won all of them.
Oh, that was going to be one of my bucket lists to do. He's done it.
in a single year. You might need a cherry pick for that. Let's be real, but who cares? That would just be like an unreal accomplishment. Yeah,
I'm a shameless cherry picker.
Yeah, no, I'm not faulting you at all.
Maybe just career-wise, I have to win one of each.
You've podiumed at a world championship for that Ultra Beast, but
yep,
pretty insane. Okay, last one.
Is it correct? I've won everything except an Ultra Beast, or have I not won a beast? I won a beast.
You won a beast. Yeah.
Okay. So I have to win an Ultra Beast to complete my career 5 trifecta.
Which one would you target? Because if I was you, I would not go after Killington just because of the sheer, like maybe South Carolina or
no. If I do an Ultra Beast, it's got to be a mountain. I can't.
Really?
I have to break stride a lot. I can't run for 30 miles straight.
You wouldn't do like whatchamacallit?
Glen Rose.
Dallas or something, or a shorter one?
I've noticed that holds no interest to me. If I wanted to cherry pick one, I'd go to Hawaii Ultra Beast.
Okay, yeah, just for the experience.
But if I had to choose one with my heart, it'd be Killington.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm going to do an Ultra this year.
Which, really? Just going on the record right now, is this 100% like you signed up for it? Definitely doing it? Yeah. Okay. All right. So
which one?
So my last question.
Which one till I show up?
Okay, that's fine. You can be mysterious. I think that's a bunch of stats. I see Benny falling asleep there.
Benny, you ready for some debate?
Yes. I'm sorry, guys. I have been trying so hard. We know that Benny is not the stat man.
All right, so here's the deal here. We're going to play a little devil's advocate here. We're going to have the angel and the devil. So Jack is going to present a statement based off of fact. And he's going to draw a conclusion based off of it. And Benny and I are going to debate that statement. So we are going to switch each round. First round, I'm going to support the statement and argue for it. Benny will argue against it. And then with the next statement, we will switch. We'll flip-flop. So regardless of how we actually feel about these statements, we will have to argue it fully and honestly. And Jack will be the mediator and choose who wins each round of debate.
Do I have to believe in the statement that I'm mentioning?
No. You're using the numbers to draw your conclusion.
Okay.
Or to throw out a controversial statement, or however it's going to be, and we are going to argue it. This is like PTI, right here, or this is like any other number of sports talk shows where you just have to argue for or against, and you don't get a choice in it. So if, for example, if we said Jack Bauer is a terrible human being, well, Benny has to argue for it, and I have to argue against it. And Jack, you can't get mad at Benny because he just has to take his position. That's fair. Any people listening, we don't necessarily have to believe it, but we're bound by the rules of this game to argue it. So don't get your panties all wadded up.
All right, I'll start it off.
All right.
So before this question airs, Jack, you have to establish who's arguing what here, so that we don't get to play favorites.
Gotcha. All right. Benny, I want you to take the I agree side, and Brakken, I want you to disagree.
Gotcha.
John Albin had the single most dominant performance season of all time last year for the men's Spartan.
Impossible. You can't dominate by only showing up 3 or 4 times. That's just not the way dominance works. Yeah, you can cherry pick a few races, but no, dominance does not come from a few pot shots that happen to land. Dominance comes from
I'll let you go. How about his relative performance level based on how deep the competition has evolved through the years and his performance results? That's what I'm getting. Not dominating in terms of like.
You know what, Brakken?
Sorry.
You can 100% say that, because even though it looks like we were saying earlier that consistency is the thing that makes you the great champion. You can be good and, you know, do something great every now and then, but the greats do it consistently. Well, you could easily say, well, yeah, he does. He's not consistent. He just shows up at the World Championship events. But guess what? He showed up to every World Championship event and cleans the floor with everybody from the beginning of time with the old guard all the way up to the current guard. He wipes the floor with everybody.
Yeah, with fresh legs. What about Ryan Atkins? Out here grinding out every single weekend in the U.S. Championship Series races and wins practically all of them, and then still comes to the World Championship and loses by like 4 seconds.
Out of the mouth,
certified fresh legs.
Out of the mouth of bald babes, we shall apply knowledge here. Hashtag fresh legs or not. You start that finish line, you're healthy, you're fresh, and the result is the only thing that matters.
Yeah, and I'm talking body of work here. 3 or 4 fantastic races against fantastic fields is great. But give me the guy who gets 30 podiums that year, takes home $1 million in prize money. That's
so you're telling me that Killian is a greater Spartan racing athlete than John Albin? Any day I will take Killian, who's the epitome of what you're describing there, and put him against John Albin, and Albin will take him every time, any course, any time, any altitude, any day.
So who's more dominant? The boxer, the heavyweight boxer who comes out and fights 3 times in his career and wins all 3, or the person who defends his title 15 times, loses it 5 times, gets it back, but reigns for 20 years? Who's the more dominant fighter?
Well, the problem is you can't say he reigned because he's never beaten the other guy. So he never reigned ever. You can consistently perform at a subpar level, but every time you go up against this guy, you lose. I mean, that's the answer right there. Every time you go against this guy, you lose.
All right, I'll be the judge. I think in this case, I know that you're taking sides, but Brakken, I'm going to go with you as the winner on that one.
Ding, ding.
All right.
Put your sleeves back on, Benny.
Okay. All right. Number 2, Lindsay Webster is the greatest female Spartan racer of all time. Benny, you're going to agree. Brakken, only because you've seen more of the sport historically, I'm going to put you on the opposite side. Benny, go.
Well, it sucks because I want to amend the statement and say she's the greatest OCR athlete of all time, regardless of sex. Lindsay Webster has dominated every series that has ever been on the circuit. There's not a single person she hasn't beat, and there's not a single person she hasn't beat at world championships, at series races, regardless of if it's Spartan race, if it's Battle Frog, no matter what. She has the most podiums, the most wins against anybody in the field.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a page out of your own playbook, and we're going to talk quality, not quantity. Yeah, does she show up a ton and win a lot? Yeah, but whenever she shows up against a specialist, she gets beat. She is the jack of all trades, master of almost all of them, but there are some masters who are better, and that master is Zuzana. Zuzana is undebatably the greatest female OCR athlete and maybe overall of all time. She just doesn't lose, and when she does, it's one time.
Now,
right? And when it is, she happens to fail things. Not only is she the best uphill runner in the sport, she is head and shoulders above as a downhill runner. She is the best heavy carrier in the history of the sport. She can do any distance from sprint through beast. And if she wanted to do an ultra beast, I'd have a hard time thinking that someone could descend with her for the course of 7 hours. She is the best ever. Lindsay finally got her, but that's not taking over the throne. That's just sitting on it while the queen was out.
You put Zuzana, who, by the way, has one more win percentage-wise over Lindsay. Lindsay's got 1 win over her. Zuzana's got 2 wins over her at the World Championships. Is it 2, right, Jack?
2 each.
Oh, okay. So first of all, at the World Championship quality level that you're talking about,
you can't be reaching out to the moderator for stats. This is all. Is you can't even bring this to the table.
You know what? I don't even need to say that they're completely even. Even if Zuzana had 2 World Championship wins over Lindsay having 1, and we're just talking about the Spartan world, we don't even need to talk about the fact that she kicks her ass in every. Okay, so maybe Zuzana has a 2-1 record on a long ass mountain course, but you put her in any other race with Lindsay, and Lindsay's gonna smash her.
Right. Do we know that? Zuzana has the greatest all-time percentage. Does she not, moderator? The greatest all-time stats behind her name. You can't punish her for living in an Eastern Bloc country. Do we punish John Albin, who you think is the greatest man of all time? No.
You know what? Where was she when we went overseas to OCR World Championships? Right up her neck of the woods, across the pond. Why didn't she show up to that? It's because she knew she wouldn't.
It's a fake World Championship. She doesn't care about that. She shows up to real World Championship. She shows up to Spartan. She sets the tone. She wins every Spartan race in Europe. it's like a closed case. Zuzana is better.
You know, when it comes down to it, scoreboard, how many wins, how many quality world championship wins, you can call them quality or quantity on both sides. Lindsay's got higher numbers.
All right, I'm gonna step
more
in
world
right here.
championships.
She's got.
I'm gonna step in here and end this. I'm gonna go with Brakken. I liked your arguments, but I'm gonna have to go with Beni. Zuzana, she didn't beat Rebecca Hammond last year. She lost head, so that right there is against her a little bit. Zuzana actually.
That was a painful argument for me to have to make.
I know. I
could
tell because you clearly believe Lindsay is head and shoulders above like all time, right?
Yeah, I think she's the best.
Okay, because right now,
it's because she's not like the greatest at one thing. She does everything better than 99% of everyone else.
Yeah, she has no weaknesses. I have Lindsay as the highest male or female individual rating of all time ever. Like, she is the greatest OCR athlete of all time for Spartan racing. I have Zuzana number 2. Just behind her are Rebecca and Nicole from this year, but she can continue to move up. But Zuzana's very close, but I know that was a tough argument for you, but I think you defended it really well, but I'm going to go with Beni on this one.
Lindsay, forgive me. I would never say that in real life.
Got out the big guns on that one.
Brakken, I'm going to put you on the spot right here. Brakken Crocker is the greatest stadium athlete of all time. Go, Brakken, you're defending yourself. Beni, you're saying no.
Yeah, no, we decided beforehand. Unfortunately, we can't have a horse in it. I have to take the con.
Oh, no, because I would have jumped on the con here. You know what? You defend yourself.
I'm the moderator.
Okay.
Brakken, go toot your horn. Let's hear it.
Come on. We just talked about historical significance, Beni. I have the most stadium wins of all time, and it's not even close. I've beaten everyone
that's
that
false.
ever...
I'm stepping in there. 24 for Isaiah, or 25 for Isaiah. You have 17.
We're not talking about day 2 watered down wins. Head to head, what's my record versus Isaiah?
Like just stadiums or not?
Stadiums. We're talking stadiums.
Okay.
I have, if he has the greatest body of work all time, I am far ahead of him in terms of win-loss. I am one of only 3 people to ever have a stadium title. I'm on my way to my 3rd. I have 2 stadium series world championships that no one else has. If we're talking championships, that's it. I have 100% more than anyone else has ever won.
But come on, Brakken. Historically, you've also been going up against a bunch of babies. It's like Hobie in the first 2 years of Spartan.
He can only race who shows up.
Brakken, you are 6-3 all time in stadiums, head to head with Isaiah. 17-8, regardless of the distance over Isaiah.
Okay, so I mean that's not even close. So if he's the greatest prolific racer of all time, and I kind of just stomp all over him, that we can take that argument out of the way. And I can't race who doesn't show up. And Beni, do you ever stop and think there might be a reason Cody Moat said, I will never show up to a stadium race, Brakken? Why Hobie Call has never wanted to show up? It's because why would you travel all the way to a race for a potential of an $800 win when you know you're just going to sit there in second place? Like, there's no reason to show up if you're a top dog at another.
I'm going with Brakken. Beni, don't even talk.
I got nothing left. I got nothing. That one is.
Oh, come on. You could have brought up the fact that I have a losing record against Ryan Kent and Robert Killian.
What?
I have a losing record against Hunter McIntyre.
No, they're all just such.
Or the fact that you just lost like the other day. Yeah.
That I'm totally defeated this year.
All right. I'll let you guys hash this one out. This one isn't taking side. Like, pick a person who wants Hobie, and I'll reveal the other person after. Who wants Hobie?
Wait, to defend or?
Defend Hobie.
Hobie.
You'll take Hobie? Okay. Beni, you have to defend why you think Cody Moat is better than Hobie. Go.
Well, that's easy. Hobie's just floating around on this title, the godfather of OCR. He shows up at starting lines and just uses that title to intimidate people on his best days. What did we just see a few years ago? Cody Moat made him look like he was standing still. He took the Spartan World Championships. And Hobie, regardless of how he races pretty consistent. But when Cody races clean and actually has a good race, there's no one even close to him, including Hobie.
All right, your statement, when he races clean. We're not talking who's the greatest mountain runner. We're not saying who, if they all put it together, can outrun people. We're saying who's the greatest obstacle racer. Hobie Call puts the obstacle in OCR. He has more obstacle techniques named after him or put into place because of him than anyone else. He invented rolling through barbed wire. He invented kicking the bell when that was still legal. He showed people how to hit a spear throw. This is the man who has innovated obstacle racing every step of the way and has more world titles than Coble.
But Brakken, what's the famous expression? Those who can't do teach. There's a reason he's taught so much. It's because he knows he can.
People have watched him from behind what he's done.
You know what, man?
While he's been innovating obstacles, Cody's been failing his way out of world titles.
That's true, but it's very important to talk about the fact that the reason it's important that Cody has a clean race is because then it actually becomes an obstacle course race. It's not just about his obstacle proficiency. Oh, he's a great mountain runner. He's a great obstacle course racer, but he's just that. He's floating off the title of Godfather, and
he's floating off a self-earned title where he has 3 world championships. He's floating off that. How many world championships does he have?
Jack, I don't like contention. I suck at this game.
You're more trying to take away from what Hobie's done instead of defending why Cody.
I know that's an approach based off a lack of knowledge on Cody's career.
All right. So here's I'm going Brakken again for the win. He's just killing it. All right. So let me just establish this right here. So you have Lindsay, Nicole, Alyssa, Raya, and Faye. That's who I'm mentioning as the Fab Five. All right, Beni, you are going to defend that those are the 5 greatest U.S. like we're taking out Zuzana, but you're going to defend that those are the 5 greatest female Spartan racers of all time. Brakken, you're going to say that someone else should be in that mix or multiple.
Say the 5 again, please.
We're going Lindsay, Faye, Raya, Alyssa, and Nicole.
All right.
So Brakken, basically you need Amelia, Rose.
No, hey, don't give him. He doesn't need any of your help. Let's go, Brakken.
All right. Well, first of all, it's just false. These women are the current best stock at running supers. That's it. The U.S. Series is a championship of supers. That's it. That's what they've gotten good at. No one in that group has shown me incredible range from sprint, super, beast, ultra beast. The 4 mothers of this sport ran everything because there was no series. There were just big races. Any race could be an awesome race, and they'd show up to it, and they'd win it all. So Rose Wetzel, not only is she maybe the fastest foot speed athlete in the field and has shown that no one wants her in a sprint, she also has a top 5 performance, 2 top 5 performances at Tahoe. So she takes the best of your generation, who are supposed to be like the new hybrids and the greatest new things, and she beats them at their own distance, and no one's coming to find her in a sprint. So I'm going to put Rose into there.
I would directly combat that to say Nicole would crush Rose in a sprint, and I love Rose. But you name any woman in the field.
What has Nicole done at World Championships? Has she gone top 5 twice?
Well, listen to my next statement. You take any woman out of those top 5, and I will put them against any woman that you say. If you were going to go to the mountains, I'm going to throw you Lindsay, or I'm going to throw you Raya. If we're going to go sprint to super, I'm going to give you Nicole, or I'm going to give you Rebecca was not on that list. Who is it?
All right, we're going to go to Broken Skull, and I'm going to put April D in there. Nobody wants any part of April D's mental game. She's a tenacious animal.
You can't bring a TV show into this.
You can't do that.
That's a TV show, not a competition. You start off
an obstacle.
No, you get to the starting line, and it's the whole field. You get to Broken Skull Challenge, and there's some dude sitting behind a computer seeing how he can fix the tournament.
I'm talking well-rounded, top 5, fabulous of all time. If you put Raya into Broken Skull, do you know what's going to happen to her? A well-rounded OCR athlete can do any obstacle-based competition there's ever been. You think Nicole Miracle is going to scrap?
I think Faye would toss April D out.
I think April D would still be eating Faye's remains when they wrapped up filming for the day.
I
think that Rose Wetzel would pick up she would pick up Lindsay and throw her over Steve Austin's trailer.
That might be possible because when you start getting into certain types of medications, you're able to do things like that.
Who are you talking about?
This got derailed. Talking about TV shows. This is Beni. You're like ruining this.
I didn't bring up Broken Skull. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I know. Brakken, you brought up Broken Skull for that. I'm gonna give Beni the win.
Yeah, I had no grounds for argument there. They are the current Fab 5, and there's no debating it. I think Rose is the closest to being in that Fab 5 argument.
Well, I don't know. I'd take honestly. I'd have to pick Rebecca over Rose if someone put a gun to my head.
All right. Here's the next question.
Historical data on her.
Okay, here's the next question. We are comparing Spartan only, not Tough Mudder or anything else. Who wants Killian?
Me.
All right, Brakken, you get Killian. Benny, you get Ryan Atkins. Who has the better range?
What's the question?
Who has the better range?
Oh, come on, guys. This is a joke. When Killian showed up to Iceland, he got his ass. No, wait, he didn't even show up to Iceland, did he?
Yeah, he did.
He did. He got his ass kicked. I don't even think he finished. Did he even finish the race?
This year he ran with a weight vest, and last year he got like 6th or 7th.
Yeah, exactly. So Ryan Atkins has shown up to Tough Mudder X and gotten 2nd place in a heavyweight competition that lasted less than.
So he lost.
Oh, he lost to Hunter McIntyre, arguably one of the fittest athletes on the planet, but he crushed everybody else who had a huge sampling of athletes from all different realms there. And then he also showed up at the TMX World Championships the next year and still laid down the fastest time from the slip wall to the sandbag gauntlet out of any athlete that did that, incling
that's a useless stat.
Several CrossFit Games athletes that were competing.
The slip wall to the sandbag gauntlet. How long was that?
He's also.
What stage of the race was that? Was there a prize for that?
He's also.
So he lost TMX convincingly. Great.
Okay, he's
Congratulations.
Undefeated world's toughest
Robert
runner.
Killian that same year won the only legitimate short course series, which was the Stadium Series. He won that and also won a Beast that year. And I believe was a world champion the year before. So you want to talk range. He's a world champion at a short course series, and he's a world champion at the Spartan World Championship. That
Brakken,
what's the pinnacle of both ends.
Brakken, what's the distance of
both ends?
Brakken, what's the distance of the Spartan World Championships and the distance of a Spartan Stadium?
I'll answer that with another question. What is the shortest race Ryan's ever won and the longest race he's ever won at world championship level?
A race that has taken 13 minutes and a race. Oh, won?
Won. Yeah. We're talking greatest of all time. Tell me, what has he won?
Well,
he won it. He won a 24-hour race. That's really impressive. What's the shortest he's ever won?
The shortest he's ever won, I'm assuming, would be a Spartan sprint.
Oh, we can't assume. I need facts.
Moderator, I'll take my call.
No. So Killian has won the shortest possible race and the longest possible world championship race they've ever held. Show me more impressive range than that.
Well, if we're going to, I don't think that winning is the only factor that you can take into account here, because one of the reasons Killian's career is impressive at all.
You want to talk like most impressive finishing medals? No, it's all about winning.
No. This isn't Ricky.
Stadium Series champ, Spartan World Beast champion.
This isn't Ricky Bobby here. 2nd place still counts. 3rd place still counts. But Ryan Atkins, let's talk about who he's beaten. How did Killian stack up when he raced Ryan Atkins at that Tough Mudder X? He didn't even make it past qualifiers where Atkins did.
Was the rule not Spartan only? Jack?
It was initially, but I like where this is going, so just keep going.
Well,
all things. No, that changes things. Never mind. You're right, Brakken. Got to stay on topic.
So we're talking Spartan World Championships. Stadium Series champion.
Okay, well, where
Spartan
has he placed?
World Championship.
Where, you're bringing up dinosaurs here. That was years ago. Where has Killian finished in relation to Atkins during the Spartan World Championships for the past 3 years in a row? Not even close to him.
I'm sorry.
He beat him 2 years ago.
I blinked out for a second. The last thing I heard was Killian won the Stadium Series and the World Championship.
Yeah,
has Atkins ever won the World Championship? Has he ever won a short course championship?
This is called backpedaling. When you know you've been beat, you just go back to the same foundation.
Historical data. How many World Championships has Ryan Atkins won?
Ryan Atkins
has won at the shortest distance and the longest distance.
Change the question a little bit.
The definition of range.
How many? All right, hold on. How many of the World Championships has Atkins beaten Killian at? More than the other way around.
You were the one who told me individual accomplishments matter more than lifetime accomplishments. John Albin's better because he wins against depth of field, not because Killian wins a bunch of races, what you said. So let's talk depth of competition. Short course championship, world championship. It doesn't get bigger than that. It doesn't matter if he's been beat before. He won the 2 biggest championships there are in Spartan.
All right, I'm going to cut this off. Brakken, you have defended yourself very well, and you get the win.
Oh, Atkins is the easy choice, too.
Come on, I know that, yeah. But I think based on your argument that he has won the Stadium Series and been a world champion and won ultras, there you go.
Benny, you know that this year they titled the Iceland the Spartan Ultra World Championship.
You missed that. That was like the gimme, Benny.
No, but I didn't have any short course to quote for him.
So I looked it up. Atkins has done 6 career races in which the duration lasted less than an hour, and he has won 4 of them. He's ended up on the podium in all of them.
That's not short course.
Yeah, I know. His shortest win was 33 minutes in Canada in 2014.
No,
so.
you say it was
went 33 minutes to 24 hours, and
you say it was easier. But if you pigeonhole me into just talking Spartan, it's not nearly as easy.
I know. I should have widened that up.
I love Killian, but I'd argue Atkins has better range.
Right. But if you're talking just within Spartan stats, that'd be a hard point to make because there's no data for that.
I'd say he's won a sprint and he won the Ultra World Championships.
Yeah, but a sprint's nothing like a stadium.
Gotcha. It's only 10 hours longer, but the Ultra is 22 hours longer.
Yeah.
All right. Here's an argument. Raya Coble is the best female climber in the sport. Who's doing yes?
You gotta sign it.
Sign it. All right, Brakken, you're doing no. Beni, yes.
I have zero knowledge.
Beni, you have none of that. Okay.
Well, I have absolutely no knowledge.
Let's get out of Spartan real quick. Yuri Force is let's do some savage. What do you think about Yuri? Beni, you pick a side on something.
I'll support the shit out of him.
Yeah, go ahead. Pick some topic involving Yuri.
I say he's the most underrated OCR athlete of all time.
Okay.
He is the most underrated OCR athlete of all time. Jack, what are the stats on him showing up outside of Savage Race? First of all, he's won almost every Savage Race he's ever done, regardless of who the field is. There's only 2 people he's lost to, or maybe it's 3. I think he's lost to Ken, Brakken, and Woods. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's also 0-2 lifetime against Lindsey Webster. Let me just throw that in there.
Okay, so the guy can't beat
the greatest athlete of all time in obstacle course racing.
He's pretty decent at Savage Race, but that's, again, like winning a spelling bee in Alabama. Like, there's just not that many people. As soon as Ryan Woods started showing up, Ryan Woods wins them all. I went to my first Savage Race. Do we have any stats on who beat Yuri in that first Savage Race?
I do. Keep talking and I'll pull it up.
I would say that he's a very, very accurately rated Savage racer and a accurately rated Spartan racer. Has he ever made a podium at a big Spartan race?
Wait, what was the question?
Do you think
is he the most underrated of all time?
OCR athlete or Spartan athlete?
OCR.
I'm saying he's the most accurately rated OCR athlete of all time. He's pretty darn good at Savages when the top dogs aren't there, and he's pretty darn average at Spartan race.
You know what, though? We got to look at historical data. What's the percentage of his wins to losses in a series? What's his total number of podiums or percentage of any race he's participated in winning? It's got to be higher than 99% of the field.
Are you talking about Savage Race only or Spartan? Because Yuri has only had 1 race where he didn't end up on the podium in Savage Race out of 49 career.
Yep, we're going to go with that.
Okay, and how about in a real race series, Spartan? How many podiums versus how many starts?
A real race. A race that
9 out of 13.
A race that benefits. I don't know if you can include Spartan race in obstacle course racing. It's the biggest name, but the only thing that's hard about it is those obstacles.
So Yuri has had 46 starts. Did you say, Jack?
49.
49 starts, 47 podiums in Savage. He's had 13 starts and 9 podiums in Spartan. Right away, we can see a disparity here.
Yeah, we see.
He has 4 times the amount of losses in 1/3 of the total number of races. It shows the depth of field. He's very good at what he does.
No, that doesn't show depth of field.
Big boy leagues, he gets smacked back down a little bit.
If he continued racing, we had more data spread out over my time. Maybe you could say that. But what that is, that's beginners.
He's lost 2 times in 4 years at Spartan Race, and he's lost 4 times in 13 races at Spartan. I mean, at Savage, he's lost 2 times in 49 races. He's lost 4 times in 13 races at Spartan. That's pretty definitive.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you go to a race that's a bunch of fast trail runners and a couple things to hop over. That's not really obstacle course racing. That's Spartan racing.
You can't call into consideration the legitness of the race.
Wait, I'm sorry. Didn't you start this off by saying winning Savage Race was like winning a spelling bee? That's exactly what I could do, and that's what I'm going to
be in Alabama.
Yeah, because since the beginning of time, the only thing hard about Spartan Race has been the obstacles, and they have just put their stamp on that even more firmly this year.
NBC races, U.S. championship races, world championships. How many podiums have ever been won by him at a race that would be considered a championship race? And the answer is 0, which means you can't be underrated if you've never done that.
In a
Would
Spartan.
Be averagely rated or overrated?
Bracken, the question wasn't who's the most underrated Spartan racer on the planet. It's who's the most underrated obstacle course race athlete on the planet. And Spartan race
He can't be underrated at Savage because everyone says he's the king.
No. I know. But we're talking about OCR. I didn't say the greatest Savage race athlete. I didn't say the greatest Spartan race athlete. We're
This
talking about
man doesn't even race the Pro Wave at OCR Worlds. He races age group. How can you possibly be underrated?
Right there, I'm giving Bracken the win.
Oh.
On that mic drop right there.
Yuri, I love you. You know I always claim you're the most underrated athlete in the world.
Yeah. Yuri, I'm sorry I failed you.
So Yuri has 39 career wins at Savage Race in 49 career races. That's insane. He is literally...
He's really, really good.
Actually, okay, so if we are looking at Savage racers who have run at least 3 races, name the only 2 people who have a higher percent odds of being on the podium than Yuri. Yuri has been on the podium 97.9% of the time. 48 out of 49 career races he's been on the podium.
Woods and me.
Bracken, you are one of them. Air Force Ken is 22 out of 22.
Wow.
Oh.
That's surprising. Ryan Woods is actually 9 out of 11. So.
And I'm 2 for 2, 3 for 3.
Yeah. I'm actually.
Am I 3 for 3?
Tied for 10th. Amazingly, 2 out of 3. But
have I done 2 or 3?
You're 3 for 3.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty
10th.
crazy.
Look at this.
Yeah. Who do you think has
Benny?
the most career podiums for Savage Race on the women's side?
Oh, wait.
Alex Walker.
KK.
No. Alex Walker's tied for 4th. She has 10.
Oh, it's Rachel.
Rachel with 23. So
Really?
Yeah. Combined, Air Force Ken and his wife do not have as many podiums as Yuri. So, that's crazy.
All right, so we're running really long here, which is okay. People are gonna have to split this up into multiple bedtime listenings, but let's wrap this up, and let's wrap it up pure obstacle dominator style. Pull out your nastiest stat here, the one that's gonna kind of piss people off, something dirty that's gonna leave a bad taste in people's mouth to end this off. And Benny and I will argue it.
Well, if we're talking nasty and dirty, I think that one name comes to mind. I think that there's been no one in the history of the sport who has had more post-race complaints about physical altercations during races. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think we all know who you're talking about.
Okay, all right, Benny. I want you to argue.
So we're talking who has had the most complaints about them as a racer in the history of the sport.
Yeah, that's the question. So I think we all know who this is going to be.
You got to state it.
I think Benny, you're going to take the side that yes, it is Isaiah Vidal. Bracken, you're taking the opposite.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We got what we asked for.
All right. Look here. I'll should I do it alphabetically or chronologically? We've got Colorado Sprint a few years back caught trying to use women's weights on multiple obstacles, saying, I can do that. The volunteer said it was fine. We've got the Breckenridge Beast seen cutting multiple switchbacks during the race. Battle Frog. Air Force Ken screamed at him throughout the whole race, and then he confronted him at the finish line for cutting the course and skirting obstacles. We have Fenway Stadium. Bracken yelled at him throughout the race, then confronted him at the finish line for dirty racing tactics. We've got Citifield just this last weekend where Bracken and Matt Kempson were shouting at Isaiah to pick up the jugs that were supposed to be farmers carrying, but he's got them on the ground and he's pushing them like a wheelbarrow, like just sliding them along the ground, waits till the volunteer says, you got to pick those up, picks them up, and then runs off. Nothing happens. We've got the Texas Spartan where he threw a fit and walked off the course with 50 meters to go because the volunteer gave him burpees for dropping the Hercoist weight. We've got Battle Frog Dallas when the first time I'd ever beat him, we're over, doing the little rinse off shower stations and I'm trying to chat with him and stuff. And I won't repeat the words he chose to use about how I beat him, but there were some very mean words spoken there when I was still just like a little, it's Isaiah Vidal kind of guy. And what else have we got here? Bracken, I would love to see you come back from this, my friend.
Okay, 2 things jump out at me here. First, all this is allegedly. This sounds like hearsay, word of mouth type of facts, which, unless we have video evidence of this stuff, we can't actually say happened. Second, let me flash back to some stats we have here. Who has the most all-time podiums?
Isaiah.
Okay. Is this maybe just a case of jealousy? Is this maybe just a case of all these people who have supposedly complained about all these things they've witnessed on course are really just people who can't beat this man, who have run up against him dozens of times and keep getting sent home to mom? Yeah, he's out racing them. Rubbing is racing. If you're not pushing the rules a little bit, you're not desperate out there. You're not trying. Oh, I finally beat Isaiah Vidal, but he said something mean to me. That's not a dirty racer. That's a little boy got his feelings hurt when someone didn't acknowledge him on the street. Like,
all right, speaking of,
this is a guy who's historically great, and it sounds like there's a lot of hate directed his way.
So let's go the other direction. Let's go the opposite of a little boy who's getting beat by Isaiah and just wants to beat him. Let's go to Hunter McIntyre. How much video footage do we have in one race where Isaiah, not only to Isaiah Vidal, but to Hunter, but to Ryan Atkins, Tough Mudder X, World Championships, CBS Sports, it's all online. You can go look it up. He blocks Atkins under a barbed wire crawl. We
just saw Atkins do that this past weekend in Seattle. No. He cut off VJ Jones on a sandbag carry. VJ Jones is Atkins the most dangerous, dirty racer of all time.
VJ could alternate his route. He pinholed Atkins against the post that was holding the barbed wire crawl and then slowed down directly in front of him. There's a difference between cutting someone's path off temporarily while they have other options and pinholing somebody in a corner so you can control the pace because you know you're going to get beat. And then he tries to do this. He tries to do the same thing to Hunter McIntyre, and it's all on camera.
I've seen the video of Hunter elbowing Isaiah. Who's to say Isaiah is not a victim here? Maybe he's taken advantage of all these years, and people are just putting it on them when they themselves are initiating.
Well, let's look at Elliot McGuire then.
Who have we ever known that's actually gone on record saying that they've seen him cheat? This is all just hearsay.
Well, I guess Brakken, you did not go on record a couple days ago. I'm outing you here, even though
you ever talked to anyone who actually said they've seen him cheat, or have you just heard through rumors?
You, Matt Kempson.
Maybe we're butthurt. Maybe we are just too high and mighty, sitting up in our ivory tower, saying, "Oh, you must race one way and one way only." So you're not cheating, you're not trying.
All I see here is you casting doubt on your own word, which means that your entire argument here, I could just say, is not accurate either.
Hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's what I think.
I think Benny came prepared for this argument.
Yeah, suddenly Benny knows how to debate here.
I've got a little bit of skin in the game on this one. Okay.
I was gonna say that intro. Benny should have just walked off after that. But yeah, without a doubt, he won that argument right there.
Well, Isaiah, you can't say I didn't try.
Yeah.
Devil's advocate right there.
And Isaiah, I love your new blonde hair.
Do you like Max? I saw you got some.
Oh my God. Everyone go to Mac Rush's Instagram. It looks fantastic. I left so many instances out there. Like, what was it? It was AT&T Stadium last year when he came across the finish line, and I don't know what happened. He didn't have the race he wanted. And one of the volunteers went to put the medal around his neck, and he like ducked and dodged it. And like just stalked off, huffing and puffing. His girlfriend tried to like hug him.
Hey, the debate's done. There's no need to rub a cheating man into the ground.
No.
Only cheating because Jack Bauer says he does.
You're right.
I'm setting up the question. I don't know the answers. You guys are debating it.
You chose the victor of Benny. Bad people doing bad things is no worse than good people refusing to stand up.
Can't put it any better, Brakken.
Wow, do you have that written somewhere? You have that ready for this?
He's ready.
Did you have your stats ready for this?
No, that's
unbelievable.
I think if we're going head to head, what did we do? Probably close to 10 arguments. I think Brakken probably won like 8 of them.
No. Brakken has 4. Brakken has 5, and I have 3.
Okay, all right. So you were keeping track clearly, but just like your record, just like your record against me this
once
year,
every third.
Yeah.
But by the way, just like my normal stats, you can about trust what I just said as far as you can throw me. So I don't know. I think I get the feeling that Brakken won 5, and I feel like I won 3.
Yeah. Well, bottom line is, just like your record head-to-head against me this year, you're losing.
You have to add that little this year ending to it because your overall record doesn't look so great.
I think the past 5, I'm 3-2 against you, but
yeah.
All time, you've had my number all time, but this year is going to be a different story. So.
Well, I think it's fair to wrap up here with another gentleman's wager. We already have one against Nicole Miracle. for a rat tail for Beni to grow out if he doesn't beat her at their chosen competition of the year, which is OCR NORAM.
See, I think 100% Benny's going to win that. Like, just looking at the women's winning time versus men's, I don't think there's a way Nicole's going to beat Benny.
Okay. Well, there's mountains in this one, my friend. So we'll see.
Doesn't matter.
For the two of you to make a wager as well. Now, this is just me spitballing here. I'd say since all three of us were involved in Citifield in our kind of all in on the stadium series.
Yep.
I think
I'll beat all of them.
Whoever wins the series between the two of you probably wins something good from the other person. So Beni, are you willing, and Jack, are you two willing to bet on the outcome of your individual placement in the stadium series?
If Jack, I get like seventh, does that count as 7, or is it like I beat Benny, so that's 1, he gets 2? How's this work?
What I'm saying is that the loser between the two of you, whoever places lowest in the series total.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm willing to bet that. Here we go, Jack. If I beat you in the overall series, then you have to put out a 60-second video in a bra with no shirt on underneath. Okay.
How's a bra with no shirt?
Wait. I'm making sure because you could, if I don't put the details here, you'd be like, well, you didn't say I had to not be wearing a shirt. No shirt, but you've got a bra on, one of Audrey's. You've got one of Audrey's skirts. It's got to stop before your knees, several inches above your knees. And I
don't know if that's going to be legal.
No, and you're going to be wearing a cowgirl hat. Specifically, it needs to be a pink cowgirl hat.
I don't own one.
And
not that I would.
It looks like you'll need to get one.
No, I'm not.
And you got to sing Shania Twain's "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" with the music in the background. And then you got to post it on Facebook and on Instagram.
Okay. That's fine. I'm confident enough that I'm not going to lose to Beni in this series.
All right. So what's your rebuttal? What's Beni going to have to do if you beat him in this series?
Beni clearly has tried to make that bet with someone else because you don't just think of that ridiculous arrangement of items. Just
you want to know? It was actually Van Tran, and I kicked his ass, and he never did it. So I still need to see a man dancing and singing me that song.
Okay, fine. If when I beat you, you have to do the same. Like loser has to do that.
Okay. All right.
You made it simple. I know you've got no shame, and I have a corporate 9-to-5 office job where it'll probably have a little bit more impact than me, but I'm not worried about this.
I like it.
All right. And if I win, then I guess you both.
Shut up.
How about if one of us beats you in a race this year? Deal?
Ooh, wait. You know what? Here. How about this, Brakken? If you and I end up going to the Grit Games as a part of a team with unknown third, and I beat you on the rig, specifically the rig part, then you have to do the tonight. That's a whole event. I'm not just saying just in that part of the race.
So specific, Beni.
I'm saying that's a whole event. There's 5 events, and then one of them is obstacle proficiency, so it's a rig. Now, I don't actually know how they're setting it up, but last year, it was how far can you make it, because only me and I think one other person was able to complete it.
So the competition is so lame.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so basically you're saying, well, it doesn't matter how many other times you beat me this year, and you can beat me in 6 of the other competitions at this one event.
Jack, you just said that.
But if I beat you in this one select...
Jack, you just said that. You just said that, Jack. You just said if we beat you in one race this year. That's the same thing as what I'm saying.
No, yours is way more specific.
No, it's an event.
Rig longer than me.
It's a full event. It's not like I'm just like saying if mid-Spartan race I can do the rings faster than you. No, it's a whole event.
From the sandbag to the warped wall, right?
Yeah. Sandbag to warp wall.
No,
if you beat me, if you perform better than me at the Grit Games, you can pick your punishment for me.
Ooh, overall points?
I mean,
I might need to go to this.
So if you, or even if you just beat me at more events than I beat you, even if I beat you overall, let's say I beat you on the running section by enough to cancel out like 2. If you just win more events versus me than I do versus you, then you can pick your punishment for me.
So to clarify, it's just the most points at the end of that if we were to just divide up what each person did for the team.
Mm-hmm.
Final rankings. Yeah.
Okay. I like it. Now, is there a flip side to this, or I just get to do something if I beat you?
I mean, I feel like we should come up with something that you would have to.
Let's do this after. Yeah. We'll have time to think about it. I might show up to this now.
No, there's pressure on it. I had to come up with my shit on the spot. Let's go, Brad.
You just said you thought of it for Van years ago.
All right, Benny. You have to shave or wax your entire body below your...
No, I can tell you right now, I won't do that for
No,
anything.
I want him to wax a penis shape in his chest hair.
There will be zero hair. If you guys want me to do anything below the neck, the chances have to be like so high stacked in my favor for me to try something like that. There's no way.
All right, we'll think of the consequence later.
You have to shave your legs. That's
Yeah.
it. That's my final offer. Shave your legs.
Brakken, I know that this has obviously been long, but I know you've been doing the rapid fire. You want to do a couple of those?
Yeah, let's get it going.
All right, let's go.
Wait. Brakken, I will shave my legs, but you have to shave them.
Deal.
Deal. All right. Damn it. Why did I do that?
Jeez.
All right. Let's get rapid fire going here so we can get to sleep.
Yep.
All right. One running or endurance book that everyone should read. What is it?
Honestly, I haven't read a lot of books, but there's a pinned thread on letsrun.com with like just a bunch of awesome links on different training styles. It's pinned right at the top of the training page on their forum, and you can find a bunch of cool stuff there. Just different methodologies, whether you're doing short, long, medium distance, and I don't know. I found a lot of good stuff there through the years.
What is your Let's Run handle?
I don't have one anymore. It used to be Top Miler 358 or something. I had a prank with one of my friends.
358 is a very suggestive handle.
Oh no. We had an inside joke with one of my old high school teammates after he had like a breakthrough race, and we pretended that we were like a pro runner who ran a 358 mile, and we're messaging him like, "Man, you got potential. You're probably going to get signed by Nike soon." So that was like our fake thing. Like,
okay.
And I just kind of kept the email as like a spam account that I never used.
Gotcha.
Yeah. How about you?
Go-to race meal.
Pre-race meal, like morning of or night before?
Night before.
Absolutely not Chipotle anymore. I've had way too many bad experiences. You can ask Benny. I've kind of been in a veggie burger phase, believe it or not. And I probably eat. I know it sits well in my system. I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of that, but it makes me poop in the morning before the race on time, and that's all that really matters. So you don't have a disaster on the course.
Okay. Non-race day. Got one food, one drink. What's your favorite?
All right, drink. All that I literally drink is water and unsweetened vanilla almond milk. But I would honestly, nothing quenches your thirst better than a nice cold glass of water when you're really thirsty. Meal. I did the Big Texan Steak Challenge one time, that 4.5 pound, 72-ounce steak. I probably wouldn't do it again, but if that was like my last meal, I would probably go all out on that steak.
Wow. Unsweetened almond milk, water.
I don't like added sugar and stuff.
Veggie burgers. You are the life of the party here, Jack.
I've got some serious family history in terms of like bad health, so I'm trying to eat right without added sugar.
I don't know what you expected, Brakken. We just did a 2.5-hour episode talking about stats, about what your percentage of winning is with a last name starting with H or something. So
yeah, you can edit a bunch of that out. I don't care.
No. One OCR shoe to rule them all. What is it?
I'm actually I just recently switched to Topo Athletic. I'm a big fan. I was with Ultra for a while for like my main shoes to wear. I love like the Ultra Kings, the Ultra MT Kings. But during my last race at Fort Carson, last race outside last year, within about 30 seconds, I tripped and fell and busted a huge hole in it. So I was pretty pissed about that. I think in terms of like the design of their upper, it's not really good durability, but I love the traction and the wider toe box. But if Topo Athletic has a trail shoe, I'd definitely go after that.
What Topo are you in?
I don't remember. It's black and it's got a bunch of support on the side, so I don't bust a hole in the side of it, because that happens often with narrower shoes. I'll never wear like VJ. They're just too narrow. I have a wider foot. I got size 13 feet, and just narrower shoes just don't work well. Same as ice bugs. I just can't do it.
Hey, Brakken, did you forget what rapid fire means?
Did I or did he?
I think you both did.
All right, go. That was 30 seconds.
One race venue. What's your favorite race venue?
Dallas Stadium.
Greatest OCR achievement to date?
I think I've had a lot of disappointing achievements, honestly. I haven't had my breakthrough yet.
Greatest OCR achievement to date?
Probably I would go with my first podium. Miami Spartan a couple years ago. I was leading Killian heading into the barbed wire 3 minutes from the finish line after he fell off Twister, and that guy turned into a monkey going under the barbed wire and passed me for the win at the end. I was pretty pissed, but that was my first podium.
Monkeys good crawlers?
What was that?
Are monkeys good crawlers?
Probably. I mean, I don't know.
Probably. Who's your ideal sponsor?
My ideal sponsor, I would probably go with some sunscreen so that I don't have to pay for so much of it.
Sweet Potato Farm.
Yeah. Dude, you know how much sunscreen I wear?
Oh, it's unreal, dude. When we went up to the top of when we went to the top of Pikes Peak, instead of water and nutrition, this fool brings sunscreen.
Yeah, because it's the top of a mountain in Colorado during a sunny day, obviously.
If the apocalypse was happening tomorrow and this was an alien apocalypse,
yep,
and the aliens landed at a Spartan race and said, your best fighter against ours for the fate of the earth, which OCR are you sending out?
That's a hands down answer.
Hunter.
Yeah.
If this is just based on his wrestling and his, Unbroken Skull and his average highest placement in the races that matter, it would be a toss-up between probably Hunter and Atkins, but I'm going Hunter just based on his Broken Skull experience.
Okay.
Killian also, because he's got the military background, but I'd probably go with Hunter just due to his size.
I don't know, man. Victor threw him out of the pit like a wetback noob.
I didn't see anything good in wrestling. I saw 2 people DQ themselves trying to wrestle him.
Who? Killian?
No, Hunter in the pit.
He wrestled in high school.
No, dude. No, Hunter's got some great wrestling. You should watch him wrestle.
On that show, twice someone DQ'd himself wrestling him.
Well, he put them in position. Well, no. With what's that guy's name? Jack, the guy, something Diablo, Diablo, something like that. No, that was a great one. I actually thought he was going to lose there, but no, he manhandled the guy
Ian, I think.
Ian. No, not Ian. Ian probably. Hunter was scared. Ian probably would have thrown Hunter out. Christian.
Anyway, rapid fire. Brakken, I'd probably put you as a close fourth because you're pretty feisty.
I don't know. This guy took him out.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right. If you had to have terrible BO or go bald, which one would it be?
Probably BO because I already smell enough when I come back from the gym. No, I mean, some people can rock being bald, like it works for you. I don't think that it would work with my head shape.
All right. Final one. If you could be based out of anywhere on this planet to train for OCR, where would you live?
It's pretty tough to be Colorado Springs, honestly. Like I mean, you got the incline, you have a ton of trails just within 10 minutes of my house. It's pretty and elevation. It's kind of tough to beat.
All right. Well, Jack Bauer, thank you very much for coming on. We enjoyed it. Hope people learned something. And not only, we're going to start over. Pause. All right, Jack Bauer, thank you so much for coming on. Hope people learned something, took something out of these stats. And Benny, get those legs ready to be shaved and licked clean.
Hey, that's fine as long as Jack's ready to present his pasty white torso to the world while singing me a song.
Doesn't matter how aerodynamic your legs are at Washington. I'm still going to whoop your ass.
We'll see. This has been Trash Talking with Jack Bauer and Stats with Jack Bauer. So thank you guys for listening in.
Visit obstacledominator.com for show notes, training, and racing resources. And leave your question for Beni and Brakken.